Good afternoon, boys and girls. Welcome aboard to the program. Coming to you live right here. See my shirt? It says The Big Cheese. Right here in Miami. It's a beautiful thing. 8080 Southwest 67th Avenue. I know my man Manny Navarro is on his way. And for those of you that want to join us, come on out. We'll have some fun out here. We'll be out here till about 5 o'clock, I would say, something along those lines, at least 5 o'clock. We got a loaded, absolutely loaded program for you. We got all kinds of guests. It's our second podcast of the day because we do have another podcast that we put up earlier out here. So if you were able already to start downloading, we were able to talk about some of the stuff going on. We've got the links going out for you so you can watch the show on YouTube. So go to our Twitter page at Big O Show. Go to our Facebook page also, Orlando Alzagari or Big O Show. Bill is by my side as always, my partner in crime here every single day, getting it done on the program. And Instagram at Big O Radio Show. Of course, on our YouTube channel, if you're watching on our YouTube channel, you can actually watch us there and communicate with us because we got a chat board there. So many ways to contact us. You just heard there from Adam Gase, which was we did a little Adam Gase talk on the earlier podcast. So I'm not sure if you guys checked it out, but we were able to do that. If you want to check that one out, we were able to do that. There we go. Now we got the mic there. Now I got to adjust it a little bit here. So we talked a little Adam Gase yesterday or this morning on the podcast, and it was a lot of fun to watch him suffer, right? Because that's kind of what was happening yesterday, 33-0. He's sitting there befuddled with his beard and trying to figure out what the heck is going on. His quarterback thinks he's Santa Claus, and he's just giving the ball away like it's Christmas. It's a beautiful thing. We're going to have a Santa Claus movie with Sam Darnold as Santa Claus. I think that would be the good thing to do, right? Have Sam give the kiddies the gifts since that's what he's doing in the NFL. 33-0 yesterday. New England now 7-0. You got Adam Schefter talking about his future because he's got his house for sale. His trainer put his house for sale. He's put up his contract to be voided at the end of the year. So will Tom Brady be a free agent? Interesting. Where would Tom Brady go as a free agent? On the podcast earlier, I gave you my thoughts on it. I think there's one perfect team for Tom Brady to go to and leave the New England Patriots. You know which one that is? The Chicago Bears. I mean, it's like simple. They screwed up with Trubisky. Now you're going to have the hot seat, right? The fan base is going to want to light you on fire in the press because you screwed up and you got a team that's ready for a title, but they don't have a quarterback to win a title. So he becomes a free agent. You don't even have to trade for him. You're not even paying for Trubisky. So because you're paying straight out of the draft pick, that's the only salary you're paying. So you don't get to the point where you made the mistake of giving him the big contract, and you still have him on the contract for 2 more years, so you can actually have him learn under Tom Brady for 2 years. And Tom Brady goes to the Bears where they can run, they got a defense, he'll win a title. That's it. Perfect place, really, to go to. Can't go to New Orleans, they already have their guy. The Bucks, not really. The Jags, they just lost their most important player on defense in Jalen Ramsey. And you could argue that maybe they're a QB away. Carolina, well, they're making the switch now to Allen, so I doubt it. There aren't really like a lot of like perfect places that you plug the dude in and you can end up just taking off. So if there's any truth to it, and remember, by Schefter saying all that, he put his house up for sale. His trainer's house is up for sale, and the contract. Remember, when we were down here, when LeBron was down here with us, his cars were getting shipped to Cleveland. The wife was tweeting out pictures of Akron. All the signs were there. There were a couple other things. I forgot what it was. But all the signs were there. Moving trucks, all that. And he ended up leaving. And last year, they talked about how, Bronny has signed up for a school in Los Angeles. LeBron bought a mansion in Los Angeles. He's got a deal with Warner Brothers. Where'd he go? Los Angeles. He left Cleveland. So the signs could be the same way we saw with Bron for Brady now. You never know. It's just interesting. Adam Gase now, I got to tell you, a guy yesterday on Twitter, fan, that Adam Gase is your head coach for the next 30 years now. You would see, nothing makes me quit the Dolphins. Not even the last 20 years, okay, where they have been terrible and an embarrassment. Never quit, never wavered, never nothing. Watched every game, watch every preseason game. I am a complete loser, okay? Guaranteed. Never quit on my Dolphins. But if you tell me that we have to take back Adam Gase for the next 30 years, dude, I'm 53. I'm dead by then. That means I'm stuck with him till 83. Then I'm done. I'm giving up on the Dolphins. That's the ultimate poll question there. Hardcore fans, we don't give up on our teams. But if you stick me with Adam Gase one more time, then yeah. And don't you sit there also saying, I told you so. How many of you Dolphin fans out there, because you're friends with Jet fans, come on, we all have friends that are Jet fans. I mean, hey, people are not perfect. We have Jet fans out there. Unfortunately, they're Jet fans. Poor people. Did you see that tweet I put out, a Hard Jets Life, off of the Hard Knocks Life? No, you're not on.
Because of this.
There
Trying to eliminate the background noise. The guy with the hard hat, the usual JET. Yeah. Man, he looks
that wasn't him. That was just another hard hat wearing guy. That wasn't Fireman Ed.
A copy guy.
Yeah, it was just another guy.
They all look so miserable.
Think about it. The Dolphins systematically tore down their team. Okay? This is why I tell the people that keep saying tanking, they're not tanking. What did I tell you? The Marlins, that's tanking. What did I tell you? Mike Brown with the Bengals, that's tanking. How's Mike Brown doing? And the Bengals, they're 0-6. They're trying to win. They're trying to win. We've talked about these things for weeks now. I'm the one that told you, Marlins and Bengals, that's tanking. Miami, the Dolphins, it's not tanking. They're resetting. So they put themselves in this position because they want to reset the team. What's the Jets' excuse? What's the Bengals' excuse? What's the Falcons' excuse? Those guys were thinking playoffs. Now they're dumping players left and right now. Now they're in tanking mode now at this point. Now they've got to reset their team because they're so bad. But you have to admit, you sat there last night and some of you probably reached out to your Jet friends. I told you so. But then again, some of you Dolphins out there are guilty of this too. Okay? Because I remember even my boy Channing Crowder, right? They signed Tannenbaum, and he's on the Tannenbaum train. So was Hawk. I mean, Hawk just is kind of screwing off. He's never really – you can't take Hawk serious when it comes to sports. But at least with Channing, he was on it. And a lot of you were like, oh, well, maybe he'll be different here. I heard the same thing from my boy Channing. Maybe he'll be different here. Get the hell out of here. He's not going to be different here. He's Mike Tannenbaum. And some of you Dolphin fans were dumb enough to fall for it. You fell for the banana in the tailpipe with Tannenbaum. And some of you Jet fans were also falling for oh, no, it's that you Dolphins suck. Okay? No, he'll be better with us. He'll be a good coach. Well, how's it going? How's it working out with the great Adam Gase? I mean, his quarterback was seeing ghosts. That's how bad it was yesterday. Do you think Sam Darnold slept at all last night? If I'm Sam Darnold, I probably had a case of liquor. Not a bottle, a case. That poor kid was...
If that's the case, he had a case. Somebody needs to go check on him, man.
Yeah, definitely. They definitely need to check on. That kid was just hurting big time yesterday. Now, that was his MO in college. He was a turnover machine. And that's something that has not changed. He will have his little streaks where he'll play well, like, the last 4 games of last season. The Jet fans, he played well. That's what inconsistent players do. And that's Sam Darnold. He was like that at USC. He went on streaks where he played well, and then he went on streaks where he gave the ball away left and right. And he's done that over and over again so far with the Jets. And last night was just another example of that. That's all. Manny's already
the Jets.
Manny's got some pizza going, huh?
The Jets do have, because he was, I think, the best quarterback the last 3 or 4 games of the season.
4 games.
His QB rating was the highest.
Yeah.
Okay?
And I've seen, I've seen Ryan Tannehill play for 3 or 4 great games.
When the Kool-Aid is good, you can't blame people for drinking the Kool-Aid, man.
Yeah, but it's just it's plain stupidity to expect.
You just know the USC turnover guy is going to surface.
No, that part, yeah. Well, I mean, the turnover thing about Sam Darnold, that he came into the league with that, and that has not changed. But the funny part is to think that Adam Gase was going to be any different here and over there. He's the same divisive dude. He's the same, I'm the guy that knows everything in the room and you know nothing. He's that same cat every single time. It doesn't matter. Man, he didn't wait long over there to draw, to create a rift between him and the GM and get Maccagnan fired. Not that I'm going to defend Maccagnan, but there's no way I'm defending Gase either. And so now, the quarterback was just as confused as heck yesterday. And I thought Gase, okay, so the last couple weeks you had a crappy quarterback out there. So on a night where your guy doesn't have it and he's throwing the ball away like it's Christmas, you don't pull him midway through the third quarter and say, you know what, kid, it's not your night. I saw Shula pull Marino, okay, a couple of times. Not once. At least 2 or 3 times in his career, I remember where Marino it wasn't his day. And we're talking about Marino, bro.
The best pitchers give up 6 or 5 runs in the first inning. It happens.
Okay, but that's when your coach has to kind of pull the plug, dude. Okay, because he's young. And so you don't want him to keep putting him out there and embarrassment. Because all you're doing is compounding the problem for the poor kid. So you're just beating his psyche by keeping him out there in the third and fourth, or the rest of the third, the rest of the fourth, when you knew you had no shot anyway. It was over. It was done. So that's another bad coaching move on his part yesterday. Yeah, dude, you have put out Luke Falk already for weeks. Whatever sorry-ass backup you have right now, just put him out there for the next quarter. Let him get beat up. That way the Patriots will let out the dogs. They won't go after you anymore. Once you put in the backup, they can bring in their guy also, because they kept Brady into the fourth quarter, bro. They didn't bring out my boy Stidham till late in that game, till it was completely over.
And that's a little bit crazy because we saw what was it, the Dallas Eagles game? One of the defensive backs for Dallas got hurt at the end of the game. They got from the Giants.
Why do you have to go to another game? In that game, Sony Michel almost got injured.
Right.
Who's often injured.
Yeah.
Who's often injured. He's a sack of injuries. And they kept Sony Michel. Mind you, they have 8 backs on that team. 8 backs, not 1, not 2. They have like 8 running backs on that team.
Burkhead is banged up too.
Burkhead is banged up. Use the guys that aren't banged up. Use the last guy on it, Bolden. Use Bolden. Okay? I mean, that I could pick on him for that too. On Belichick, on the genius. But I thought Gase, what he did to that kid yesterday was just off on every level and irresponsible as a coach. If you can pull a veteran when they're having a bad day, you should definitely pull the youngster.
Let me ask
when
you,
he's having a bad day.
Does it also get pounded considering the fact that it's a divisional foe that this guy's going to see 2 times every year? Like, you want to kind of like save him even more because of that factor?
Yeah, but wait a minute. Hold on. Adam Gase will argue with you. They're going to see him 3 times. They'll see him in the playoffs. No.
Dreaming is free, man.
To me, it doesn't matter what the opponent is. The fact is he was confused. He had no idea what he was doing. Dude, he was throwing to spots where there were no receivers. I swear to you, I thought he was trying out to be an NBA mascot so he can just fire T-shirts into the crowd. That's what I thought he was doing. That's what I thought he was practicing. Some of those throws, you're like, what were you looking at? Who are you throwing to? I felt bad for him at that moment. And he's a Jets player. I'm not supposed to feel bad for a Jets player. I'm supposed to be laughing at Jets players struggling.
Supposed to walk over there and kick them when they're down, man.
Yeah, exactly. Little Don Henley. Kick them when they're up, kick them when they're down. That's what you got to do. 786-322-1105. If you want to get in on the program, that's the accidentlawfirm.com text line. It's 786-322-1105. And we do want to remind you that the show is proudly brought to you by Toyota of Hollywood. Steve, Herbie, all the great people out there at Toyota of Hollywood. My mother-in-law's got this beautiful Corolla she got there a couple of years ago. And right now, folks, you can save up to 50% on the new price on their 2019 models at their model changeover event going on right now at, of course, Toyota of Hollywood. So get on down there, take advantage. 1841 North State Road 7, right on 441, just a couple blocks south of that big, beautiful guitar. You know that one that the Hard Rock built? Well, they're jamming just a couple blocks south of that. So get on down to Toyota of Hollywood. Go see Herbie and all the great people out there and tell them that Big O sent you. They will take care of you at Hollywood, Toyota of Hollywood.
Buying or refinancing a home? Act now. Home values are ticking up. Don't put off making a move any longer. Call Michael Kodsey now at Choice Mortgage Bank, 561-441-2730. While mortgage interest rates are still at historical lows. Call now to get pre-approved and buy your dream home. If you're currently paying over $800 a month for rent, call 561-441-2730 now before interest rates go up. Down payments as low as 3.5%. Veterans may qualify for no money down. If you own a home, but you're upside down, Michael Kodsey can help. If you're being denied by your bank or your loan process is taking too long, call 561-441-2730. Act now while fixed rates are still under 3.5%. Offices in Boca and Boynton Beach. Rates and terms subject to change. NMLS 12208.
We need to watch games. We need to record. We need to get sound. We need to book guests. We're working social media. I mean, it's endless. Sales, everything. All of this. You know what I mean? It's just, there's a lot to it, right? It's when you just got to do your show and you just walk in, that's fine. But when we've got to do this, we've got a huge burden. You know what I'm saying? And so now Manny has that entire burden on him. And when you've never done it, it becomes a real challenge for you. You watch what's going on in Florida, and it's become an easier transition because they got a guy that was their coordinator but went to Ole Miss to learn how to be a head coach, and now they got him, and he already had the training of being that head coach. Manny doesn't have that luxury. And so now he's learning on the job. And to learn on the job, you had to have taken advantage that while you were a coordinator, you learned and understood the other aspects of a program and how to run it. And I don't know if he did or not, because right now it's not looking like he knows what he's doing. And here's the thing also, that the fact that he has to worry about everything else, the strongest part of the team now has suffered, because now the defense is not up to par anymore. And he cannot focus on it the entire time because he has to worry about everything else. And he's new to all of this. And then if you delegate responsibilities to people that can't handle those responsibilities, which is what's kind of happened on defense, because the guys that are running his defense can't do it better than him, can't do it equally to him. They are doing it at a lesser standard. So then that hurts you all of a sudden. And then you've got all these other PR nightmares going on. Players going, your third quarterback isn't really a quarterback that you can count on. So it puts you in a difficult position where you're now playing guys that are injured over the guy that's completely healthy, but he's got a really hot chick and an Instagram account. That helps, right? So all these kind of things, it's all compounded for Manny.
You know what's one aspect, and Manny mentioned it a couple weeks ago, his lack of head coaching experience and stuff like that, and the quality of the assistants he's able to get because of them knowing and not getting quality guys.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, that's what I just was talking about, that these guys are not living up to the standard of his defense. And so these guys, I mean, this situation for Manny now gets uglier and uglier and uglier because now it becomes a big-ass ball that is rolling downhill and gaining momentum. And he's got to be the guy that stops it. And how do you stop the bleeding? By winning. You have to turn this around with a quickness. And that's the only way you're going to then bring back some confidence in your fan base and the media. Because right now, it is a legit thing to do to question whether he can get this done or not. He's earned that, unfortunately. It's like Dan Quinn after on Sunday when the reporter asked him, have you lost the team? And in a very classy way, Dan Quinn looked at him and said, you know, that's a fair question that you're asking. Because look around. You're 1-6 or whatever the hell it is. And the thing is embarrassing. And so it looks that way. So Manny has to also be pretty realistic about what the image is right now. What lack of confidence he is displaying with everybody out there. It's a problem, ladies and gentlemen. It's an enormous problem. And the only way is by going up to Pittsburgh and looking like a competent football team and go out there and win that game. And then follow it up with more wins. But if you're going to follow it up with a bunch of losses, I told you a couple weeks ago, the performance for them was going to put him on the hot seat. He's already on the hot seat. He will start next season in 2020 with a boiling hot seat. And he will not survive 2020 if he has this kind of season again.
It's time to doubt what's going on here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is time to doubt what's going on here. And plenty of people are doing it. All right. Manny Navarro is going to join us on the other side. We're going to take a quick break here on the program. We do want to remind you that it's our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes report that's coming up. Go to 2511 South University Drive in Davie. And they've got the parlay jerseys out now. And that, by the way, is used they created it from recycled ocean plastic yarn to promote more sustainable ways of living. And this is the kind of stuff that doesn't get to our oceans. It's on the coastline. And so they were able to then get that material and create these jerseys that are really, really cool. And you can save 20% on these jerseys. Use my code Big O20P. That's Big O20P. And remember, you can go to the website at caneswear.com. And if you order over $99, you will get free shipping. So if you can't make it down to Caneswear at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, you live too far south, too far north, go to caneswear.com. Caneswear, Miami Fanwear, that's the spot where fans like me shop.
Plus tax, tech title. It includes $8.99 dealer fee on approved credit offers and 11/10/19. Over 1,500 Toyotas are on the ground, and truckloads of new 2020 Toyotas just keep on coming. To eliminate all 2019 models, Toyota of Hollywood is holding the ultimate 2019 model year changeover event. Make us an offer, any offer, and you can buy a Toyota at up to 50% less than their original MSRP when new and used. 50% less. A pre-owned 2019 RAV4, not $30,000, $19,775. A pre-owned 2019 Camry LE, not $26,000, $17,775. A pre-owned 2019 Corolla LE, not $22,000, $12,775. Pay up to 50% less at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer, based on total retail sales of new Toyotas in the Southeast region for 2014 to 2018 per SET, on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
No one expects to get into a crash, but I expect you to go to accidentlawfirm.com if you do. Make sure when hiring a driver, you go through a rideshare app so that you can be covered by the insurance, which can be up to $1 million whether you're a passenger or a driver. In other words, don't try to save a few bucks by paying cash instead of going through the app. I'm attorney Bobby Nunez from Nunez Law in Miami, and we're here to help you through the process. Go to accidentlawfirm.com for a free consultation from me, Bobby Nunez. That's accidentlawfirm.com.
Thinking about buying or refinancing a home? Act now. Home values are ticking up. Don't put off making a move any longer. Call Michael Kodsey now at Choice Mortgage Bank, 561-441-2730, while mortgage interest rates are still at historical lows. Call now to get pre-approved and buy your dream home. If you're currently paying over $800 a month for rent, call 561-441-2730 now before interest rates go up. Down payments as low as 3.5%. Veterans may qualify for no money down. If you own a home, but you're upside down, Michael Kodsey can help. If you're being denied by your bank or your loan process is taking too long, call 561-441-2730. Act now while fixed rates are still under 3.5%. Offices in Boca and Boynton Beach. Rates and terms subject to change daily without notice. Equal housing lender. NMLS 122081.
All right. We're back. We're ready to rock. We're going to do it like we do it every week here with our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes report at 2511 South University Drive in Davie. Make sure you follow them on Twitter at Canes_wear. Make sure you follow this man on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. And as always, Manny, thank you for joining us. You say it. All right, so we got it, Manny. It's time for Manny on Manny Crime. First of all,
I'm going to bring him into focus. Hold on.
First of all, let's talk a little bit about the news now about the latest transfer portal.
Yes,
they lose a wide receiver. Talk to us about this situation.
Yeah, not surprised in the least. Hightower was a 4-star recruit that they signed in the previous class with the previous coaching staff, and just a guy who, unfortunately, I mean, he started his first game against LSU, caught a touchdown pass, and his career was pretty much downhill after that. I mean, he just was not involved in the offense very much last year, and then this year, even with some guys being suspended like Jeff Thomas on Saturday, he didn't play. He got, I think, 9 snaps in that game. So to me, it was sort of inevitable. I've been hearing the rumors that Hightower was going to leave to UCLA last year. Now the rumor is he's going to go to Arizona State. Look, there's going to be an exodus here. There are going to be more guys leaving at the end of the season. It's just natural. It's what happens in a lot of college programs nowadays. Kids don't want to sit around and wait on the bench for an opportunity. And there's a lot of kids right now on the bench in Miami that aren't playing a lot.
Okay, so is this how much of a loss is this for them? Is what I want to know.
It hurts your depth. There's no question. But you have some guys. You have Jeremiah Payton, the freshman, who they're trying to redshirt. Hey, maybe now he gets a few snaps, right? Maybe you play him in some of those games, and you give him an opportunity to play a little more down the stretch here. I don't know. You try to sort of plot out. Okay, we'll get Jeremiah in a couple games. We'll get another guy in a couple games, and they'll be fine. I think Jeff Thomas was back at practices today, which was a little eye-opening. I thought maybe they would have parted ways with him, considering this was another off-the-field team violation thing. But he was back, so to me, he's still on the team, and he's still in their plans.
So tell me about this. So why is Jeff Thomas still in the mix? Because after going out on a limb for him and bringing him back, and this is how he kind of rewards you. And by the way, he's had his drops too.
Right.
It wasn't like he's been outstanding either.
No.
He's kind of helped cost you a game too in the process. He contributed to one of those losses.
No question. Yeah.
And so why tolerate this? Is this kind of an image thing that you want to do to send the message to other kids you're going to stick with them?
Maybe.
Okay. I don't know. You tell me.
I think it could be partly that, and I think it's also that Jeff Thomas is still very talented. He's probably their first or second most talented receiver on the team. And let's face it, guys who have talent, doesn't matter what league it is, college, pros, high schools, they get a free pass. Right? They get the opportunity to stick around. I will say that the tone has changed with Jeff Thomas since it's coaches. All our guys back that are hurt. They're not putting him on a pedestal. They're not giving him the credit that he probably wants, and it's an interesting take. It's a different take than what they've been doing before.
Cameron Harris, I have a lot of respect for that kid.
Yeah,
he's always ready. DJ's been phenomenal. I really like what that kid and the way he's prepared. Talk about DJ.
Their weight on top of him, and I thought his knee buckled. It didn't look good to me, and we're going to find out more soon, I think. I'm hoping Miami will let us know either tomorrow, with Manny Diaz when he talks to us again, or that they put out a release letting us know, kind of what the situation is with him. But he and Michael Pinckney, the starting weak side linebacker, were not at practice today, which anytime a guy's not at practice at all midweek tells me they're either having surgery or they're really hurt and they're not coming back for a while.
Yeah, I thought was really interesting. You tweeted out that they were tackling.
Well, they do. Listen, they do tackle every day in practice. We don't get to see the actual practice and the plays and all that. They only let us see it up and go. But they did their tackling drills. Obviously,
was that for show?
That's a good question, because
normally they don't do that kind of like I know how this is. They just show you the stretching, like you said, and maybe individual position drills. You don't really ever see any kind of contact until they kick your asses out.
Right, exactly.
Pro or college,
right?
By the way,
that's the way that they roll. Yes, listen, Manny Diaz is a smart guy, right? He was sure to come out and point out to us that he was taking over the defense before the Virginia game, right? Well, today we go out to practice, and he knew we were shooting video of him working with the defense. But again, they do that just so you know. It's not like they don't ever practice tackling. That is a part of their routine every single day. It's a great question, though. I tend to think that Manny's going to have to make some changes, because if this season goes awry, like I think it's going to go awry, where they're not going to make a bowl game.
It's not already awry?
Well, listen, I think there's still people out there. Well, of course they're going to make a bowl game. This is Miami. How would they not qualify?
Michigan, dude.
There's some things can get really bad here down the stretch, and it wouldn't be out of the realm of the possibility this team wins, stays at 3-9 or 4-8. I mean, yes, FIU is the easiest game on the schedule, but you don't think Butch Davis is over there licking his chops?
Woo!
I mean, this is a team that we've seen it in the past, and I wrote my column yesterday about this. How many times have we seen the Miami Hurricanes quit on a head coach once the losses start to pile up and they really have nothing to play for? Right now, they're basically eliminated from the Coastal race. Yes, mathematically, they're still alive. But at 5-3, I mean, at 1-3, they would have to run the table, finish 5-3, and get help to get into the ACC championship. It's just not happening.
It's not going to happen.
Right. They got 3 road games that are not easy, because I'll tell you what, this Pittsburgh team is good. I don't know if they're ranked yet, but they probably should be. The defense is really, really good.
I don't expect Miami to win this week.
Right. They should not win this game. They're the underdogs. I think they're 5.5-point underdogs. They got FSU on the road. Yes, FSU stinks. They're 3-4.
Yeah, but so do they.
But Willie Taggart's fighting for his job. Right? I mean, there's people who are already saying that that FSU's looking for another coach. So,
but both teams stink. So it's not like any game is easy for Miami.
No. And then Duke. I mean, Duke's well coached. The end of the season, those are the 3 road games. So you got Louisville and FIU essentially home games, because the FIU games at Marlins Park. But you got to win one of those 3 road games to be bowl eligible. Which game are they going to win? Can you sit here right now and say they're definitely going to win that game?
No.
You can't even guarantee they're going to beat Louisville.
No. I can't guarantee you they're going to beat FIU, bro.
That's
I'm not even guaranteeing that one already at this point. But that's how bad it is. Mm-hmm. And that's why I was saying before you got on with us, is that this thing is rolling downhill now. And this whole it's a negative ball that's rolling downhill. I don't want him. I'm not one of the guys that wants him fired, but I'm going to call him out because it's embarrassing what's going on. But how does he turn all of this around by next year to make people, and including Blake James, feel confident about his decision? I feel kind of bad for Blake James here, because we all got suckered here. We all fell for the same thing. We all thought this was the right and logical decision, and it seemed like it, continuity-wise, all that stuff, and it has not worked out. Everything Blake imagined, we all imagined too. So we're just as guilty.
Well, listen, what Manny says about them being, 4 plays away from 7-0, we know that not to be reality. I mean, they're much worse. They're not just 4 plays away from 7-0, but they're certainly close enough, a few kicks away from being 5-2. So the reality is, yes, they should be better than 3-4. All of that said, all of the problems that they have, okay, and you are what your record says you are in the end. The problems with the kicking game, the problems with the defense and losing those linebackers next season, the offensive line, will they really get better? There are major issues here to address, and if you look at the roster overall, talent-wise, there's not a bunch of NFL prospects on this team. Manny really needs, every coach really needs their first recruiting class to be a home run. Well, let's assume for a second that things don't get better here and it keeps snowballing in the wrong direction. Miami's recruiting class as isn't spectacular. It's top 20, but it's not number 1, number 2, number 3 in the country. There's not a bunch of NFL guys, future NFL guys, waiting in the wings to sign with this program. So there's going to be decommitments. There's going to be guys that say, you know what, Miami's still a mess. So I think what we're learning here, and again, I don't want Manny Diaz fired. That's not what I'm saying here by any stretch of the imagination. But Blake James made this decision in less than 24 hours.
Yeah, I know.
Okay? And he didn't really go out and ask other people, what do you think, who should we hire? He said, I want Manny Diaz.
Yeah.
I think what we've learned here in the last 16 years is that rookie head coaches, this isn't a job for a rookie head coach. This is an expert level job.
Yeah, because of harder than a regular or hurdle.
This is sort of expert level. And if you look at it,
great point, man.
You look at the recruiting in itself. Okay, everybody's, whoa, you got the richest backyard. Well, when Howard Schnellenberger and Jimmy Johnson and Dennis Erickson were around, you know, Miami was kind of the cool place to go. Oh, let's go make the U great. Well, guess what? We live in 2019 now. These kids that are in high school now have never seen Miami win. They've never seen them win anything.
And by the way, Jimmy was an experienced head coach.
Exactly. And
Dennis Erickson was an experienced
all
head
experienced
coach.
and all Hall of Fame guys, right? I mean, think of what the coaching staffs have been here. Larry Coker ultimately was a coordinator who won with Butch's players. He's replaced by Randy Shannon, who was a defensive coordinator, who was a great defensive coordinator. Where's he coached since?
Right.
Al Golden, where's he at?
Right.
I mean, Mark Richt was at the end of his career, and now you're getting Manny, who's never been a head coach in his life.
That's a good point.
To me, the kind of coach that you need here, you need a guy, number one, who can come into this backyard and bring a great staff with him, and that the recruits in the area are looking at him saying, man, this is a tremendous coach. I want to go play for this coach.
Right.
While Manny was well-liked, and there's certainly a lot of people who thought, hey, this guy'd be great to get behind, he doesn't have the resume. He doesn't have the track record.
Right.
He's a rookie. So, and here it's much more difficult. I mean, all of these high school kids, I mean, the elite ones are looking for a payday. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So Miami's right off the top. You cut off the top layer of the best South Florida players because most of them are looking for a payday to go somewhere else. Then the ones right below that, the 4-star kids, why would they want to come play here when they're losing to Georgia Tech, a 1-5 Georgia Tech team?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, and it's not just
Struggling
this year
against Central Michigan.
It's not just this year. It's the year
it's been
before
going on.
against Duke. It's the year before that against a bad Virginia team. This is an expert level job, and while Manny Diaz could turn out to be a great head coach down the road, he is in a really tough position. And not only is he in a tough position, but he's being let down by some of the guys he hired as coaches, which right off the bat, that's the number one job of the head coach, hire good staff. He's being let down by his kicker, who has blown games for him, his senior leaders, right? Pinckney and Quarterman, they didn't do so. He just hasn't gotten what he's needed to even be 5-2, which is why they're in this situation. And once you get to this level, where you're 3-4, and kids start looking at it and saying, well, what's the difference between Manny Diaz and Golden? What's the difference between Manny Diaz? Manny has some. Do that if this team doesn't completely turn it around, the recruiting class is going to fall apart.
I agree.
And we're headed towards more misery.
I agree. And I know you had on your podcast called
the Wide Right Podcast.
The Wide Right Podcast. Make sure you guys subscribe to it. You had Kelvin Martin on.
Kelvin Harris, yeah.
Kelvin Harris on. And I was on his podcast actually on Sunday to recap the game. And Kelvin is of the belief, I disagree with him on this, next year will be Manny's last year if he has this kind of season again. He thinks he can survive another one of these seasons. I know there's a bunch of you out there that already want the guy fired. I don't. I want to give him a chance to come back and see if he can fix the issue, see if he can get it done. And plus, this university can't afford it to be doing that kind of stuff. But can he survive another one of these seasons, or do you believe that next year is the year for him to prove that he is competent? Because if he doesn't prove it, you have to move on, right?
Right. The schedule was very winnable this year. This was the year for him to sort of prove it. I mean, it was not a difficult schedule. Next year's schedule, the same thing. It's not loaded with tests. You got Michigan State, who's struggling themselves as the big out-of-conference game. So, again, the opportunity is there to certainly bounce back. I don't think the schedule's that difficult. That said, by 2021, when you got Alabama and Clemson and all these other teams around Notre Dame, I mean, I don't know how Blake James survives. He's the athletic director. This was his decision.
I know
he's raised a ton of money. He got the Adidas deal done. I mean, Miami, every day it feels like a new
Indoor
building is going up.
facility,
Right, the
yeah.
indoor facility. He's done a lot of great things. But at what point do the board of trustees and the people who were not allowed to be a part of this decision, because it was basically Blake James who snapped his fingers and said, I want Manny Diaz, when do they lose patience? And when do donors and people who put a lot of money into this program to see it succeed say, hey, you know what, I've had enough?
No, I know, because Blake has no impactful hire as an AD so far
Right,
on his resume.
correct.
It's not like, oh, well, I brought in Katie Meyer. Well, no, I brought in Jim Larinaga. He doesn't have that on his This was going to be his hire. And again, it's hard for me to slam. I know it's his job, so it's not me. But I wanted Manny too. You know, I'm just as guilty as a lot of us that we thought, you know what, this makes a lot of sense, man. And right now, by the way, Temple's like,
Yeah.
well, boy, we got paid to give him back.
Again, I think this team should realistically be 5-2. If they had a kicker, they would be 5-2 in my book. And we probably wouldn't be having this conversation. But again, we don't live in that world. We live in the world of what your record really is. And,
Right.
and in the end, nobody's going to sit here and turn around and say, well, remember they had those missed field goals. They shouldn't have been that bad. No, if this thing snowballs from this point forward.
Oh, no, but it's more. You said it earlier in this thing. There's more than just a couple plays, and there's more than just a couple of kicks.
Right.
Okay? At the end of the half this week, where your defense folds like a cheap 10 and gives that touchdown up.
Right.
That's disgusting, dude.
Right.
Your defense is better than
Or
that.
falling asleep on a fake punt.
Or falling asleep on a
Right.
fake punt. It's just or you're never prepared after 2 weeks of preparation for a team.
Right. The bye weeks and everything else.
I just saw the Dolphins give fits to the Bills, who had 2 weeks to prepare for the worst team in the history of the NFL. And the Dolphins actually, that's the other, I was talking about this yesterday. The worst thing that's happened to Manny is Brian Flores.
Yeah.
Because he's up the street with the least amount of talent in the history of the NFL, and his team just gets better and better and better every week. They look better coached, better prepared every week. This week, they look their best, man.
Yeah.
They just don't have enough talent to finish games.
Right.
Manny has had more talent than most of his opponents, and he doesn't. His teams show that they're unprepared, and they make a ton of mistakes, and then it all falls on him.
Right.
And that's the difference. Hell, the Dolphins are one of the least penalized teams in the NFL. Right. Whereas, that wasn't a big issue this week, penalties. I think.
No, the last 2 weeks it hasn't.
It hasn't been that big. But he had a run where penalties were an issue.
Right.
These are things that, like, you're comparing the two, and you're going, well, wait a minute. One guy's doing it with less, and this guy that's got more than some can't produce.
And I got news for you. Things are going to get worse here because there's some
man.
good coaches. I mean, North Carolina with what they're doing with Mac Brown and then Jeff Collins. Listen, for many years, everybody in the ACC was going into the talent-loaded Atlanta area and plucking kids because they were using that Paul Johnson system at Georgia Tech. None of those kids, none of those quarterbacks, none of those receivers.
Yeah, only Georgia was getting them.
Right, only Georgia and then Clemson and everybody else. Miami was getting players out of that area. Now, Jeff Collins brings in the spread. He beats Miami in his first year in their house. I mean, how's Miami going to go into Georgia now and recruit when they can't even beat these guys when they're really rebuilding?
Right.
So, again, the hole keeps getting larger and larger at the University of Miami. There's fewer guys playing on Sundays, right? There's not going to be any first-round picks this year. You might have Brevin Jordan and Greg Rousseau a year from now, but where's everybody else? Where's all that talent?
Yeah.
NFLU, all that talk about NFLU. Where is it? Where are the guys that are starring on Sunday? The tradition is dying day by day, and the hole is getting larger and larger day by day.
Yeah, and he looked really bad when he tried to follow up the rebuild comment and use confidence.
Right.
Because in that cut that he talked about in postgame with you guys, none of it was about psyche.
No,
it was all
I
about.
asked him about recruiting. That was his response was to my question about recruiting. I said, Manny, what do you say? What's your message to recruits? The recruits decommit when you lose games like this, when you lose to teams you shouldn't. What's your message to them? And so his entire message was, yes, this is a rebuild. Please come. We need talent.
Right, yeah.
And then, of course, he wants to spin it around because it makes his current roster look horrible based on what he said.
Yeah.
But, again, rookie head coach, rookie mistake.
Well, hey, saying your kickers, we don't have free agency.
Right.
That's like basically saying, hey, dude, we got what we got. I know we
Right.
got two bums.
Right.
I'd love to change them out, but I don't have free agency.
Right.
I thought that comment was a little irresponsible on his part, too. I don't think
Right.
he looks at the big picture.
No.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And he's depended a lot on the rah-rah.
Yes. And you go back to when he took over. I mean, everything was the new Miami, hashtag new Miami. And he turned it around because you felt it. You felt the excitement. Oh, look what they're doing in the transfer portal.
You got to live up to it, dude.
But
you got to walk the walk when you talk it.
When you don't back it up, man, then what happens is all the recruits look at it and say,
right,
this guy, he's just a guy who talks.
Right. And then in the end also, you made a great point that it's painful. That the less and less players getting into the NFL, recruits are going to see that you're not developing any more NFL players.
No.
And that creates all kinds of problems.
4 first-round picks this decade. Think about it. 4 first-round picks.
They used to average that every year.
They averaged that every year. They had the run of, 8 or 9 years in a row where they had multiple first-round picks. And it's just not what it was. And that's why I tell you, to me, it's going to require an expert level coach.
Yeah.
To really come in who knows exactly what buttons to press, how to recruit, how to convince the best players in the city to pass on those suitcases full of money.
So you want to Meyer here is what you're saying.
I don't know. I mean, I think ultimately,
but the arrest rate is going to skyrocket, and then you're going to be down at Coral Gables and Miami Police Departments often.
Right.
Well, and Miami Beach. I'm sorry. Also.
Well, I'll tell you, the one guy who I think would take this job and do an unbelievable job here is a guy who played here.
Oh, Mario.
No question.
Yeah.
Because he's had the experience now.
He's a head coach.
He was a head coach at FIU where he did a great job for a few years, and then he failed, right? He learned lessons from that.
He didn't fail.
Well, towards the end.
That's rough.
Towards the end, he struggled. We'll use that.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. He's still their most successful coach.
Absolutely. Well,
so he didn't fail. Because he's still the standard because he went to back-to-back bowl games.
Correct. He's still the standard at FIU. There's no question.
He still isn't T.Y. Hilton his guy?
Yes. T.Y.
Okay, so he owns the best player ever to come out of FIU.
Yes.
Also.
Yes.
So he's still the standard.
When I say fail, meaning at the end of his tenure, things didn't go great, and that's why he wasn't there anymore. But he went to Alabama, learned under Nick Saban, right? I mean, he's now gone to Oregon, taken over. And what's that team's record now? 5-1, 6-1?
Yeah, no, they're doing good.
And they're winning with defense. Remember when Oregon could only win with that no huddle?
Yeah.
I mean, he's basically turning him into the Alabama of the Pac-12.
Yeah, he needs to because he sees where Utah's going.
Right.
And Utah will punch everybody in that conference in the mouth.
Right.
And he's a tough guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think Oregon's always been soft.
Right.
So he's changing that attitude,
the whole
the culture,
right?
No, not the culture. Because they've got a decent culture there. It's a fun culture, but they're changing I don't know what it is, the image,
right?
Because they were always finesse, and they're trying to become more of Mario. Mario is a good choice.
I would say that's the guy who could probably come in, who would take the job,
understands it, too.
understand the neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Understand the city, understand all.
Already recruited there.
Right, already recruited. And again, I'm not trying to fire Manny Diaz. I'm not. You're asking me what do I think would work here?
Yeah, he's recruited there for Alabama and for FIU, and he's probably recruiting for Oregon too.
Well, yeah, they've already got a kid from South Dade, an offensive lineman that Miami wanted. They took him. He's going to Oregon. I mean, a South Florida kid says, I'd rather go play in Oregon than play for Miami.
That's a nice little place, by the way. It's not that bad.
I know.
It's actually not that bad. Okay.
I mean, think about how...
It's a beautiful, actually, state.
Think
I know, I get you. Now, if it was the Beavers, if it was Oregon State, then I'd be... Oregon, has got that Nike...
you got the whole Nike money.
They got the Nike money, bro.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Listen, it's great. It's great over there. But, I think Miami's just in a situation where if Manny doesn't turn it around here quickly, start winning games and beating teams that maybe they're not favored against...
Yeah.
He's going to start losing kids. And it's a shame because, his record shouldn't be what it is, but it is what it is.
All right. No, it is. Yeah, what's going to happen with the kicker, the third guy?
Camden Price?
Camden Price, that we keep hearing. I mean, I guess we keep hearing about him because the other two guys get done.
It's amazing that we used to talk about championships at the Price was kicking field goals on the sideline in overtime into the net. I saw him doing that. And Manny said he's going to be a part of the competition this week. So we'll see. We'll see But again, you look at this game against Pittsburgh, they're going to win. It's not going to be because of field goals. They're going to have to go out there and listen. Pittsburgh's the number 1 team in the country in sacks. They're averaging over 5 sacks a game. We know about the problems this Miami offensive line has. The Canes are going to win this game. It's because N'Kosi Perry is smoking DBs in the secondary, and Jeff Thomas and KJ Osborne and Brevin Jordan are having a huge day.
And you don't expect DJ to play then?
I don't think DJ is going to play, and I don't think Michael Pinckney is going to play. If you don't practice on Tuesday, I mean, they weren't even on the field.
Wow.
So I think there'll probably be an announcement soon with regards to their injury. But right now, if you're not at practice, that to me tells me it's a pretty serious injury.
Okay, quarterback, and we're talking with Manny Navarro, of course, Canes beat writer for the Athletic MIA, and it's our Canes Wear Miami Hurricanes report. We do it every week here on the program. Quarterbacks.
Yes.
What's going on with the quarterbacks? All right, so we've got if N'Kosi separates his shoulder, where is he? Jaron comes in. He's still playing coming off the shoulder, but N'Kosi goes back in there with the shoulder. Tate Martell gets no playing time whatsoever. Where is he, Tate, in practicing? I know that Manny said that they have packages for Tate. How's this whole quarterback thing shaking out?
Yeah.
And will Tate be ready because you're dealing with 2 injured quarterbacks?
Yeah. Well, first of all, the injury to N'Kosi is his non-throwing shoulder. It's his left shoulder, not the right one.
Not like Jaron.
Not like Jaron, who injured his throwing shoulder.
Right.
Watching them both throw today, it looks like Jaron's throwing shoulder is healthier. He threw deep balls while we were watching, 40, 50 yards down the field, hitting guys. Obviously no pressure, no coverage, but hitting guys in stride on the field. So to me, he looks like he took a step forward as far as his health. N'Kosi didn't show any symptoms of a guy who was in pain. He was throwing the ball fine. So I think it's more a matter of what does Manny do at this point? Does he think N'Kosi Perry helps them win more games, or does Jaron Williams help them? I don't know. We'll see. I think both of them have trouble, obviously, handling the blitz, and that's going to be a huge issue in this game. So we'll see who he decides, and that quarterback position will be decided tomorrow. What was the other position you asked me
Tate.
about?
No, about Tate.
Tate. Tate, I mean, listen, I tweeted this last night. I think anybody who's a Tate Martell fan at this point has to give up on him playing quarterback.
Right.
He's simply playing wide receiver. That's what it's been since he lost the starting job in camp. And, yes,
I'm a big fan of him on social media.
On social media, Tate, I think, could be effective in running type situations, running the wildcat and doing that kind of stuff. But, listen, having watched that guy throw a football now.
It's pretty bad, right?
It's just not something that Miami fans keep asking for. It. Maybe we'll see it in the FIU game if they still haven't won a game by then. Maybe that's when we see Tate Martell throw a football for Miami.
Is there a walk-on that we don't know about?
Yes, Carson Proctor, is it? Yeah, Carson Proctor, who's a guy who I think played for Enos at Arkansas at one point. So a couple years ago. So to me, he's really the third-string quarterback. But you only see Carson Proctor in the event that both N'Kosi and Jaron are knocked out.
All right. So, and your prediction is a loss this week?
Oh, I mean, I can't pick this team to win again because every time I do, they lose. I mean, I think the only game I could pick them to win is probably FIU, and even that I'd be tentative. I mean, this Pittsburgh team is legit.
I expect them to lose.
I expect them to lose this game for sure.
Yeah, I think they lose this week. What hurts me in looking at the U is that they're poorly coached and poorly prepared, and that's the problem that I have with that. I mean, I found it disturbing when he came out in the press conference and he goes to you guys, well, we coached up that fake punt. We told him. Right. Well, and then he didn't follow your orders? And
then he leaves the kid in there to blow the coverage on the 35-yard touchdown.
Right,
pass.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's the thing that's interesting to me here, and you talk about where the coaching failures are. First of all, we keep hearing about how talented these freshmen are, right? Oh, Sam Brooks Jr., he's amazing. But the kid can only play one linebacker position. Is it really that difficult to switch from middle linebacker to weak side? I mean, when you're practicing every single day for weeks
strong
upon
side
weeks?
to weak side might be more of a challenge for a linebacker. Middle to, well, it all depends. I think also if you're running a 3-4 It might be, the size.
Well, they're running a 4-3.
Right, exactly. That's where I'm saying that.
Yeah.
I'm with you. The middle to the weak side, you should be all right. Strong side, maybe you got to be a little bigger,
Right.
and maybe you're a little slower for the weak side. I don't know, or maybe vice versa. You're not
Right.
physical enough for one side, so there could be. But from middle to weak side, you should be able to handle it.
Well, and even still, I mean, you're putting a walk on, and he wasn't the reason they lost. And this is about getting your preparing.
Developed this year,
Yeah,
and I've made significant improvements.
it's hard. I mean, I guess you could say Brevin Jordan because he's a better blocker than he was last year, but again,
Well, he's a freak of a talent.
right, he's a freak of a talent. He's a guy who's a first-round pick regardless. Gregory Rousseau, obviously a tremendous pass rusher. He's horrible against the run. He's got to develop that part of his game. You look at the secondary. Where's the development of DJ Ivy and
Gervin Hall.
and Blades,
Gervin
right?
Hall
Those guys,
makes mistakes. He made a big mistake in this game again.
those guys look great certain moments, and then they look completely lost in other.
Yeah, they make mistakes on a consistent basis, man.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. And obviously, again, these guys have only been around since January, right? You usually try to give a coaching staff a couple years.
That's
to really
that's
put
why
their
I'm not
imprint
big
it.
on firing them this
Right.
year. I'm just
Right.
not.
Right. But again, where's the improvements? Where are guys getting significantly better?
That's where we can't argue with people that want to fire him.
Right.
It's like that's where I can't. I have nothing to stand on. I
Right.
just
Well-
I can't. Those of you that say, "Man, he's got to go," it's it's hard to argue it.
Here's another player I just thought about, Navon Donaldson. He's your best offensive lineman, a 2-year starter coming into this year. He's splitting reps now with a redshirt freshman at left guard. Again, you're supposed to get players and take them
Yeah.
to another level.
Yeah.
And where's the improvement? Why is Navon Donaldson still weigh 355 pounds?
And here's the other thing: are we going to start seeing guys leave here, and then get either drafted late or undrafted, and then excel in the NFL because they got the right coaching, the right people to get them? I mean, hey, Chicolo,
Right.
he's turned himself into a solid NFL player. Mm-hmm. They screwed him up here all over the place, make him gain 300 pounds to play. What was it, D tackle, right?
D tackle, yeah. He
Yeah.
went from one of the best high school rush ends in the country to all of a sudden, in the middle of a bad D'Onofrio defense.
So, is Navon Donaldson going to get coached up all of a sudden, weigh 300 pounds, and be a hell of a guard for somebody in the NFL? Right. And they got a bargain because they drafted him in the 6th round, because that's what he's doing now. He's dropping to the 3rd day of the draft.
Right.
This is a kid that we were talking about second day of the draft.
Right.
Potential.
He's not even on PFF's board.
Yeah, I know.
He's just not. He's not even there. There's 3 guys on PFF's board right now: Quarterman, Pinckney, and Trevon Hill. Those are the only 3 guys that Pro Football Focus lists, and they do year-round scouting of these dudes now.
Right, yeah.
I mean, it's not like some website that just watches the game film. Like they break these guys down, and yeah, I mean, you look at it again, you can't put it all on the coaches either. I think a lot of this is
the kids too. Yeah,
the mental makeup. Again, that's why we go back to you need an expert. You need a guy who is gonna identify right off the bat that kid. I watch his film.
it's a great point.
But his mental makeup, he's a mental midget.
Right.
And that's where the great coaches are able to win and lose games, because they identify it from the beginning. They can see, hey, you know what? This kid's only rated a 2-star, but I know he's much better than that. I know that he's got the body that he'll grow into. I know he's got the mentality, to the work ethic. That's what you need to do. And look, Manny's not just taking all of the 5. He's not just trying to go after 5 stars. He is taking some of those gambles on 2- and 3-star kids and saying, hey, we're going to coach these guys up.
Yeah.
But
you just have to find the right ones.
But again, he's got to hit on them. He's got to really hit on some of those kids. And right now, man, it's dire. It's dire at the U right now.
Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. Catch his exceptional work at The Athletic MIA. And, of course, this is our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes report at 2511 South University Drive in Davie. Go see Brett and all the great people out there. Tell them that Big O sent you. They will take care of you at Caneswear in Davie. Manny, thank you, my brother. We will catch up next week.
Absolutely.
Have a safe trip to Pittsburgh. Do you go to that cigar bar that's in Pittsburgh that's really famous?
I haven't been there yet. It's been a while since I've been to Pittsburgh because remember I just got back on the Canes beat. So
that's right. That's
been a
right.
few
That's
years.
right. But the one that has the palm trees and all that, go to that place.
Go to that place. Okay.
That place is supposedly like the bomb.
All right.
I've been dying to go there. All right,
Okay,
baby.
I'm gonna check it out.
Good stuff. You got it, baby. All right, let's take a break. 1 hour down. We got a couple more to go. At the top of the hour, Kurt Heelan from Pro Basketball Talk is going to join us. The NBA season opens up. We'll get a preview of the NBA season. We'll get his thoughts on the Miami Heat, Tyler Hero, Kendrick Nunn, all that good stuff. We've got George Richards at 4:30. We're going to talk a little Panthers. Panthers back in action tonight. They're hosting Sidney Crosby and the Penguins. My buddy Craig Mish will stop by right after that at 4:50 from Fantasy Radio and Swings and Mishes. Is the World Series. A little preview of that. Great World Series. All of that and you want to get in.
The #1 volume Acura dealer.
Thinking about buying or refinancing? Act now. Home values are ticking up. Don't put off making it longer. Call Michael Kodsey now at Choice Bank. Mortgage interest rates are still to get pre-approved and buy your dream home. If you're currently paying over $800 a month for rent, call. For no money down. If you own a home, but you're upside down, Michael Kodsey can help. If you're being denied by your bank or your loan process is taking too long, call 561-441-2730. Act now while fixed rates are still under 3.5%. Offices in Boca and Boynton Beach. Rates and terms subject to change daily without notice. Equal housing lender. NMLS 122081.
my way. Thanks to you, I'm much obliged for such a pleasant stay. But now it's time for me to go. The
Autumn moon lights my way.
But now I smell the rain, and with it pain,
Love it.
and it's heading my way.
We are back. And if you want to get in, you can send in your comments on the YouTube chat board. I know that the signal is not as strong and it's popping in and out a little bit there, the video. So just in case if it does, we apologize for that.
I'm doing my best on the chase,
Yeah,
guys.
that has
Sorry.
Nothing, has nothing to do with
Manny,
it.
thank you, bro.
Be good, Manny. Thank you as always. Manny Navarro from the Athletic MIA.
Awesome insight.
Always great insight from Manny. That's why we bring him aboard. That's why he's on with us every week here on the program. And we thank the great people at Caneswear for making it happen for us, just like we thank the great people here at the Big Cheese for making it all happen. It's a beautiful thing.
Just a little heads up for everybody. Obviously, All Zeppelin, they're on the break. By the way, for your information, in 1969, Led Zeppelin 2 was released today.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Okay.
And, of course, there is 5 other songs that I left off, but they're of the slower, not-so-jam variety, and we went with the 3 jams. But, yeah, Zepp 2, we all know 1, 2, 3, 4. You put it on, you let it go. You never have to change.
Nope. No doubt about that. All right, if you want to get in, you can reach out to us on the accidentlawfirm.com text line. It's 786-322-1105. That's 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the program. The other way to reach out to us is on Twitter. That's at Big O Show. Couple of news and notes. The Broncos have traded Emmanuel Sanders to the 49ers. So the Broncos are also in the Miami, all right. I thought it would take a year or two for people to kind of get it. Now it looks like other teams are already getting it right away. So Emmanuel Sanders, they will send a 5th round. The Niners are sending a 5th round pick to the Niners, and they will receive in return a 3rd and 4th round pick. Okay. So they go, Sanders has been traded to the Niners. They send a 5th round pick also to the Niners, and then they get back a 3rd and 5th round pick to Denver. Okay, 3rd and 4th, I'm sorry. So Sanders in a 5th and a 3rd and a 4th go to Denver. Loading up. Jimmy G needs some weapons. That's a good one because Marquise is like their real threat that they have on that offense. And obviously the tight end is fantastic.
The wide receiver is the one area where you would say they are weak, and that's about it. Everywhere else, they're pretty solid.
Yep. Hall of Famer Willie Brown, dead at 78. Former Raiders great, passed away at the age of 78, responsible for one of the most famous highlights in NFL history when the Raiders in Super Bowl 11, he stepped in front of a pass by Vikings quarterback Fran Tarkenton and returned it 75 yards for a touchdown. That's that famous one where you see the guy's face and he's running, and that's Willie Brown.
That's sideline shot.
That's sideline shot. That's just a classic shot.
You know what? You remember the old electric?
That is Willie.
The little football guys moving around?
Yeah.
I had the Super Bowl version with the Minnesota Viking and the Raider players. That was my little.
Yeah.
And it was special because it had the little circle dial that you could manipulate and move the guys to go right, left, and all. And whenever I played my other friends that just had the straight sticks and couldn't move like that, my offensive line would be able to blow holes for, of course, Chuck Foreman.
No, of course. Yeah. Former Kane.
Yes, sir.
Patriots, they also made a move today. They acquired Mohamed Sanu. They are giving Atlanta a 2nd-round pick. So Atlanta is giving up on the season, which they should, of course, because they're pretty much dead in the water. So that would make a lot of sense for them to trade Mohamed Sanu, and a good move for the Patriots also in this arms race to try to get to a title. I don't blame the Niners. they're undefeated, and you got one hell of a defense. Help out your offense if you want to make a deep run, and if you're going to run into Tom Brady and the Patriots. And look at the Patriots; they go out and get Mohamed Sanu. So they've got Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley. So Sanu is expendable, and they unload him for a second-round pick. The balance of Sanu's $6 million salary, they avoid paying $6.5 million in 2020. They will have to pay $6. They could release him and avoid paying the $6.5 in 2020 if they want to. Something tells me if you give up a second-round pick for Sanu, you're not just renting him for the remainder of the season. It would make sense to bring him back next year. And if Tom Brady does leave, okay, which, if Adam Schefter is right in that story and he does leave, then if you're going to start Jarrett Stidham next year, you need as many experienced receivers as possible to help out a young QB. So Sanu would definitely help out Stidham next year in his development if anything is true about him possibly leaving the Patriots.
Saw a stat regarding Sanu. Third best separation from defense. He's got the third best distance in the NFL, which means it'll help a guy that's not Brady.
No doubt. Anyway, so we got that news coming across the wire with those guys switching teams. What else do we have here to talk a little bit about? Brian Flores addressed the media today, and or yesterday also. I'm sorry, and he had some nice praise for Walton, and I got to tell you there's a lot of positives I saw in Sunday's game. Again. Go listen to another show. Go watch another show that's going to go the lazy route and point the fingers at the tanking and all that crap. And look, we're watching all around the league that there are way more irresponsible teams than Miami, okay? Cincinnati's one of them. Atlanta's one of them, right? They're trying to win and they can't win, all right? Miami, they tore down their team. They so there's a reason why they're this bad. But the Jets, they're actually trying to be. If go with that lazy ass narrative. I saw a lot of positives. I'm seeing a lot of positives with the Dolphins as they continue to develop this franchise and this team. And Mark Walton is one of those guys. And it shows you also, and this is something that all of you know about. I'm not teaching any of you anything here. When you run a football team, you got to try to unearth talent wherever you can. Whether it's in the college draft or it's an undrafted player from college, or if it's street free agency, or if it's a trade, or if it's the CFL. It doesn't matter. You could end up with Mark Dixon. You could end up with Cam Wake coming out of the CFL. You could end up with Preston Williams as an undrafted rookie free agent, and you could end up with Mark Walton, a cut draft pick. You got to be able to find. It's, of course, automatic. You want to find them in the draft. You get 7 picks every year. You want to make the most of that. But then when the draft is over, there are a bunch of players that are undrafted, and a bunch of them make the NFL. There are undrafted players in every single team in the NFL. And so you've got to have a general manager that knows, yeah, I know he was bagging groceries and he was quarterbacking in the Arena League, but he's got a little some. I'm going to bring him here. And then he's Kurt Warner. And you got to be smart. And well, wait a minute. That guy in the Arena League has some talent, and he becomes a Rondé Gadsden. And so you can never underestimate any draft pick. And we're all hoping that Sam Eguavoen turns into a nice player. Hopefully. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's just a passerby, and he's just a guy you're using for this Well, but I got to tell you, so you gotta be able to unearth talent wherever. And Mark Walton's a kid that had, a bunch of knuckleheaded moves. I mean, he was doing one stupid thing after another, getting arrested. I don't know who he was associating himself with. I don't know what he did. I don't know whether it was his fault or not. But his ass kept getting arrested in a 4-month period, to the point that the Bengals were like, whoa, we got to stay away from this kid. We're cutting him. And to Chris Greer's credit, probably looked into a lot of the incidents and said, you know what? I watched this kid in my backyard for a while. I like him. I'm going to bring him in. Look who's your starting running back now. So you've got to be able to identify skill, whatever skill set they have. And doesn't matter what type of football they're playing. You've got to be able to see through all of that and say, okay, this guy's can actually there has to be an identifiable quality that you see in these players. And that's what a GM has to do. And you start to, I'm telling you now, you start to think about this. You strip down the team. You kept a few that are young that you can build on. But the other ones you had to let go. Salaries, whatever. You want to get rid of all those salaries. You want to take those signings. You finally cap fund. You're different. Arena League players, not that there's any at the moment on the team, but you know what I'm saying. And Chris Grier has now done a job of, okay, Taco is out on waivers, we're going to claim him. And it's working out for you. Mark Walton, cut, we're going to claim him. Working out for you. These little things. Hey, right now the Gesicki development is taking a little while. Let's go get Nick O'Leary. He's a solid football player. Not the answer at tight end, but a solid football player, a serviceable player. Now Gesicki's starting to play better. I'm not saying Gesicki's turned the corner and he's now a successful pick, but he's maybe coming out of the Bustville area because that's where he was headed. But meanwhile, while he's not on track, you find, a Nick O'Leary to fill in. And then you've seen what he's done on the offensive line. Claiming Jamarcus Webb and all that stuff, and Isaiah Prince you draft and you try to develop him, and whatever other guys, and Bohm and all these other guys that either he traded for late picks and things like that he wanted to try to piece these kind of things together. And maybe down the line they end up working out for you as permanent fixtures. I don't know what Nkemdichi's going to do. I don't know if he's ever going to play. I don't know if he's ever going to make an impact. But you got to try, and it's costing you nothing to bring a guy like that in. Or Taco. Doesn't cost you anything. It's minimal, the money. You got plenty of space to lose that money. That's the beauty of this season, is that you can now try to take all those kind of chances right now. And you can experiment with all these kind of players to try to find a diamond in the rough. Preston Williams. And he's actually having success finding some of these guys. It's pretty cool. And Mark Walton, to see what he's been able to overcome personally, and then to come in and be prepared on a consistent basis is impressive too. That's the other thing I like about Mark Walton. Ever since preseason, if it was a return, he was ready. If it was a running game, a play in the running game, he was ready. And he was hitting the hole hard, and he was in shape, and his vision is fantastic. Everything you like about him. And he was making plays too. not just as a running back, but also as a returner. So showing you value in two areas of your football team. So you can use Mark Walton as a running back, and you can use him as a returner. All of a sudden, that's more value for your football team. So these kind of little things I thought was, it's pretty cool to watch the Dolphins kind of pick up stuff like that. And it's really cool as a Dolphins/Canes fan to watch a guy like Mark Walton overcome that adversity and be able to resurrect his career and do it from my favorite, from my favorite college team going to my favorite pro team. Kind of like that. What we also like? We like talking to Kurt Helin from Pro Basketball Talk. Before we do that, let me tell you about Dandy Donuts, because we love talking about Bobby and Frank and Laura and just all the amazing people there, the employees that have been there for 5, 10, 20 years, the chef, because it's a pastry chef, okay? It's not some dude making donuts, no. This man is an artist, because when you walk in there to Dandy Donuts, those donuts are so delectable, so delicious. We'll be there next Monday at 102 North 28th Avenue in Hollywood. Come on by and say hi. And get your free donut, too, when you come on by and hang out with us on Monday. 102 North 28th Avenue. They open every day at 5 a.m., close every day at 6 p.m. except Sundays. They close at 3 p.m., Go to Instagram, Dandy_Hollywood. Remember, Hollywood location only is the one that I can vouch for. The breakfast, the lunch, those croissants, the French rolls, the biscuits, the donuts. And remember, the glaze is my favorite, and they make it with real honey in the glaze. You will taste it. You will taste the difference because the quality, the ingredients are second to none. That's the only way Bobby and company would do it there at 102 North 28th Avenue. Go to the website, dandyhollywood.com.
Plus tax, tech title. It includes $8.99 dealer fee on approved credit offers and 11/10/19. Over 1,500 Toyotas are on the ground, and truckloads of new 2020 Toyotas just keep on coming. To eliminate all 2019 models, Toyota of Hollywood is holding the ultimate 2019 model year changeover event. Make us an offer, any offer, and you can buy a Toyota at up to 50% less than their original MSRP when new and used. 50% less. A pre-owned 2019 RAV4, not $30,000, $19,775. A pre-owned 2019 Camry LE, not $26,000, $17,775. A pre-owned 2019 Corolla LE, not $22,000, $12,775. Pay up to 50% less at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer, based on total retail sales of new Toyotas in the Southeast region for 2014 to 2018 per SET, on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
All right, we promised you we're going to talk a little basketball. It is the opener tonight in the NBA. We got a couple of games going on. Pelicans are at the Raptors, 10:30. Lakers are at the Clip Joint, and I know a man that's going to be at that game is my guy Kurt Helin from Pro Basketball Talk. You can go to the website, NBC Sports. Of course, you could follow him on Twitter at Basketball Talk. Kurt, good afternoon, my friend. How are you doing? You ready?
I am ready. I'm ready to actually watch basketball again. I don't even count the preseason anymore.
I know, and this is one of those seasons, at least, and I know it's a thing that we've all been talking about. but it's legitimate now, man. It's not where, oh, okay, Golden State's going to win it. Oh, yeah, the Lakers are going to win it. Oh, yeah, the Celtics are going to win it. Oh, the Heat, yeah, they've got it down. It's one of those seasons where it's actually legit. We really don't know who the hell is actually going to win the title. A couple of teams can be picked to win a title, and that's a beautiful thing that you can pick maybe 3-4 teams to win a title.
Well, exactly. I think exactly. I have 5 up there.
There you go.
Yeah, it's for the past almost 8 years, going back to LeBron in Miami, it was if somebody can't. The question is, can somebody beat Team X? Right? Can anybody beat LeBron's Heat teams? And then could anybody beat the Warriors? And they did occasionally, but it was always kind of a surprise. Those teams really probably coulda, shoulda, woulda, even more than they had, and they, obviously all have titles. So it's very different this year, where you're like, saying today, I picked.
Than I do, and they know this crap more than I do. But for me, the Clippers should be the favorite. They were the team that was in the playoffs. The Lakers were not. And the Clippers were the team that added 2 stars. And so they added 2 stars to a team that already made the playoffs in the Western Conference. They have the better coach. They have one of the better coaches in the league. They clearly have one of the better owners in the league. I'm trying to figure this out. How would you pick the Lakers over the Clippers? I don't understand that one.
I think there's a lot of Laker fans. I mean, it's a big Laker nation that bet that number down, but I'm with you. And I think what really works for the Clippers is look, yes, they made the playoffs last year, but how did they make it? They made it on this kind of lunch pail, hardworking, Lou Williams off the bench, grind you down, we play good defense, we're just tough mentality. Well, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George fit right into that. These were not anointed top pick guys. They were guys who worked their way to become who they are, who put in the sweat equity, if you will. They are going to fit in well. I think, like you said, with Doc running the show, I think that everything's going to fit to really together well for them. But it might take half. I mean, they don't have Paul George now for the first 3 weeks, month of the season until he gets back from a shoulder injury. Maybe Thanksgiving before we see him, and it's just going to take a while, and then they're going to rest guys. But basically, I think they're going to be well positioned for the playoffs. They're going to be good in the regular season, but I think like Denver or somebody could be better in the West than maybe Utah in the West during the regular season. But I wouldn't pick Denver in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Kurt Heelan, by the way, from Pro Basketball Talk, joining us. Make sure you follow him on Twitter at Basketball Talk. When you look at okay, we look at Clippers and Lakers as the top 2 teams. Who's your third team? Is it an Eastern Conference team, or are you staying on the West?
No, actually, I mean, I think the 2 teams in the East at the top have a shot too. I'm picking Philadelphia to beat Milwaukee, but either one of them could come out. And by the way, we'll probably have home court. The West is so deep with good teams that I don't know that you're going to see a 60-win team in the West just because everybody's going to beat everybody up every night. Like, it's just too many good teams, and the margin for error is too small. So I think whoever comes out of the East could have home court, and could be a significant advantage. And they will have played a easier route there. I mean, you could end up with the Lakers Clippers or Lakers Rockets first round series really easily. Like, there's going to be some really good stuff. By the way, that 5th team I throw in, I like Utah. I got questions about how they come together offensively, man.
Yeah.
Look, what's happened the last few years in the playoffs? They defend fine, but when you get to that second round, or in the West, sometimes it's the first round where they got Houston last year, whoever it was. A good defensive team takes away your system points, and you just got to, Kevin Durant said this. You got to have somebody that breaks it down, right? You got to have somebody who just gets you buckets. Well, Donovan Mitchell could do that to he's 22, but he could do that to a degree, but they just didn't have enough shooting and enough guys around him. Well, Mike Conley with the pick and roll with Rudy Gobert is going to be great. Bogdanovich can get you some of that. Plus, now there's just better shooting around them. I think that team could come together and be that squad. Mitchell's got to take a step forward. A lot of things kind of have to go right for them, but I think they're in the mix.
Houston will be entertaining, but I don't see them as a championship contender, correct? Are you buying?
Yeah,
Are you buying that pair will work out
in the regular season? It'll work fine in the regular season. They're going to put up a lot of points, man. They're going to score a lot. They're going to be a good offensive team. I think they'll figure out how to share the ball, but you can also stagger them. I mean, I think it'll just work in the regular season. But to me, the question is, they're not deep. They're not great defensive, especially without Joe Green now for a while. No defense, really. I mean, you've got to play Russell Westbrook and James Harden together in a playoff series. What, you're going to have them on the court 30 minutes a night together? I'm just not sold.
Yeah.
I'm just not sold.
Yeah, and again, defensively, I don't know if this is a team that's going to be stopping. You're going to go depend completely on outscoring opponents. You got to get some stops. Do they have enough people to stop there? That's the thing, because they have just lost defense over the last couple of years is what that team has done.
Yeah. I mean, they've got P.J. Tucker. Clint Capella's okay, but I don't see where they go. I don't see, especially when you start thinking about the playoffs where it becomes more about matchups. That's what makes, I'm not that high on the Lakers in the regular season where, hey, Rajon Rondo is going to get a lot of minutes, and don't worry, Dwight Howard's going to protect the rim for you. But get them to the playoffs, and you got to match up with LeBron and Anthony Davis, and that's tough. And Kawhi and Paul George can kind of start to get there, but I don't see where the Rockets get anywhere near that.
All right, we're talking with Kurt Helin, of course, from Pro Basketball Talk, and of course you can follow him on Twitter at Basketball Talk. Catch his work there at NBC Sports. The Eastern Conference. All right, you talked about a couple of teams there. Milwaukee. I know that they can be representing. I just don't know if I see them as a title contender. I know that even if they get there, I don't expect them to win it. You know what I mean? It's just one of those deals where I just don't buy them as a champion.
Look, I think they're going to defend well. I'm not really questioning Giannis. But if you look at the championship teams, it's, hey, look who steps up and made who in Miami was stepping up and making the plays outside of LeBron and Bosh and Wade. There was, you had guys making, Mike Miller for a while. Guys were stepping up and making shots. Do I trust Chris Middleton and Eric Bledsoe to be those guys? I'm not totally sure that I do, especially against what is a really long athletic Sixers team. But on the flip side, I got questions about where the Sixers get their buckets too.
Philadelphia for you is the class of the East then?
I'm picking them. I don't love this. It's a bet that Ben Simmons plays better. Maybe hits an outside shot, just maybe. But at least he's taking them. It'll start to spread things out. I think more falls on Tobias Harris. I think he can handle that. I think they're going to miss J.J. Redick. But where I think they gain, Al Horford is a subtly great pickup for them. That is a guy they can put on Giannis to make him work and make things more difficult. But he's also the glue. You need to give Joel Embiid a night off. You don't miss that much because he can play the 5. You need him to be a stretch 4. He can be a stretch 4. He can protect the rim. Whatever they need Al Horford to do, he can do efficiently. So I think that helps them a lot, both during the regular season and then when you get into matchups in the playoffs, just plug and play in a lot of places.
How about the Celtics? I love the addition of Kemba. I think Kemba will bring the leadership that Kyrie didn't. I think you're going to have a much more cohesive team now with Kemba running the show. I think he'll maximize guys out there on the court. I think this is a bounce-back year for the Celtics. I really do.
I'm with you on Kemba completely. And the thing is, his style of leadership is going to work with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum and stuff because it's, and I saw this when I was around Team USA a little this summer when they were out here and doing the training camp and playing in the States. He's kind of a put your arm around you leader. He's not a bark at you, Kobe Bryant style of leader. He's a put your arm around you, we're going into this together kind of guy. And it seemed to work for them, for the other Celtics there. I think that I'm with you. I think they're going to do well. That's another team where, I think they're going to miss Horford defensively. And I think push comes to shove in a playoff series. I'm not sure where the stops come from for them. But they're going to be good. And, I bet the over a lot with them. They're going to put up a lot of points. I'm just not sure they're going to stop a lot.
Kurt, how much of a step does Toronto take back now? Obviously, losing Kawhi is an enormous loss. What kind of a seed are they now? They were battling for 1 and 2 now. Where do you think they end up?
I think more like 4. And I think the real question, 3-4, somewhere in there. Look, they kept Kyle Lowry. The team together as it stands right now, is still pretty good. Pascal Siakam will be there. He's been playing great. They still got Serge Ibaka. They still got Marc Gasol. The real question is how much of that, honestly, how many of those guys are sold off during the season? I mean, they're pretty clearly starting to go towards the rebuild. So at what point if there's a lot of teams out there that could use a 4. There's a lot of teams that could need to space the 4. And Serge Ibaka is going to be on that list with Kevin Love and Danilo Gallinari and guys whose names are going to come up at trade rumors. At what point do they just start, hey, some team could use Marc Gasol. Hey, some team for a stretch run. Some team could use maybe even Kyle Lowry, but a lot of these guys for stretches. It's going to be interesting to see what that roster looks like at the end of the season.
All right, let's talk about the most important team in the world, and that's our beloved Miami Heat. So Jimmy Butler, I'm looking at 7 and 8 seed, depending on what happens with the other young guys. How are you looking at it from an outsider's point of view?
Maybe a little higher than that, 6, 7, 8. It kind of depends. Like you said, I think the young guys, how Justice Winslow and some of these guys fit. Do they decide to move Goran Dragic? Is there a demand for him at some point in the season for compensation, or do they go big? I don't know if they go after Chris Paul. I'm still not convinced Chris Paul gets traded this year with that contract, but do they go in for more of a win now type play? But that said, I don't totally trust Orlando. I don't certainly trust Detroit, who was at the bottom down there. Indiana's. I'm curious how they're going to come together. Is Brogdon really ready to be like a number one option guy? I don't know that Sabonis. I love Miles Turner and I love Sabonis. I don't really love them together on the front line. I got questions everywhere, and I could see Miami slipping up as high as 5. I think they're a playoff team and then potentially a dangerous one when you get there because we know Jimmy. You know Jimmy's going to perform in the postseason. If a couple guys can come with him, suddenly that's an interesting team.
Oh, did we lose you there, Kurt?
No, I'm still here.
I'm
here.
There we go. Go ahead. You said it's an interesting what?
No, it's just an interesting team. I think there's a range of where they could go, but I kind of trust them a little more than I trust a lot of the other teams in the East right now.
Okay. Now, when I look at Miami, I look at Tyler Hero, and I wonder how much can we count on him because it's so unfair to count on a rookie. He's got to put some muscle on that body too for defense. He gets pushed around a little bit. He's feisty. I'll give him that. But he obviously physically they have a lot to grow. Usually these rookies. So I'm just wondering again, what do you see? What do you see from Tyler Hero? What do you like, and what would you expect from Tyler Hero?
Shooting is always good, man, and you can always put it on the floor. So I mean, I think the high end for him I don't know how many people caught this last year. I was going to say Landry Shamet, who Philadelphia ended up trading to the Clippers, but starting with them. Like Shamet's and he's going to have a big role with the Clippers this year just because they need shooting, and he and JaMychal Green kind of provide that. But he was able to find a role, and kind of like you said, defensively is the real question with Hero right now. He struggles on that end. It's hard to keep him on the floor if he's really struggling for great lengths. But I think he's a rookie. Like you said, he's got to get stronger. He'll get better at the recognition. He's got the work ethic for it. He'll get better at that, and I think his role grows as the season goes on. And again, just today's NBA, you simply cannot have enough shooting on the floor. So I think you'd start to see him get more and more minutes. And by the way, I mean, it's a lot to ask and to be talking about Rookie of the Year, but that race is a lot more wide open today than it was 24 hours ago.
No doubt about that. Now, Kurt, I'm wondering how much have you seen of Kendrick Nunn? Because this guy, he scored 40 points the other night when Harden scored 44. It was a really entertaining game for a preseason game between Miami and the Rockets. And this kid, unlike Tyler, he's got a body on him. He's already thick. Yeah. And so I'm just wondering, this is a kid they stole off of Golden State. And, I saw that performance, and I've watched him actually throughout the last couple months here, and this kid has got a skill set that you just wonder, man, maybe they found something here. So you tell me, what do you know? What do you think about Kendrick Nunn?
I know that the Warriors liked him. Like, this was not somebody they were like, man, we got to get rid of this guy. No, it wasn't that kind of situation. Obviously, with their roster and where they are in development, they're just kind of in a different place. But, it might take a little, again, it's preseason, so I'm a little bit cautious about reading too much into any one performance, but I think he's got the capability to be a really quality rotation guy for them and step in and be somebody who sticks around and helps is part of that cause. And there isn't really, look, he's going to learn how to be a professional. He's going to learn how to be in shape. He's going to learn how to be pushed with Jimmy Butler there too. So the Heat are such a great development program that way, and have been for a long time under Pat Riley. But there's somebody who might be able to get more out of him. I think Golden State's got a great development program too. It's just they're in a different place in their development right now. They're just looking for different things. But they picked him up for a reason. They didn't really want to. I don't want to say didn't want to let him go. This was somebody they thought could help them way down the line. It didn't work for them in the short term. But I think he's somebody who's over the course of the season again could get more and more minutes and ultimately help them.
I like him, man. I like him a lot. All right, let's do this. Last one. We'll wrap it up with this. Kurt Helin from Pro Basketball Talk. Zion Williamson. I am in that camp with some of the people now that are talking about it. I see that thick body of his. I see the force he plays with. I see the force that he lands with. And I see him breaking down now. And I would worry about those joints, dealing with that pounding on that hard court every single night. And he's already had a couple of injuries. I don't blame him when the shoe explodes. That can happen to anybody. But he has had a couple of other issues that had nothing to do with the shoe, with his knee. And this has got to be a concern now. That what do you do with him? Do you force him to lose some weight? Do you try how do you handle this situation from here on out? What have you been able to unearth?
There's going to be a lot of load management. Hey, I know they're saying 6 to 8 weeks. Expect it to be 8. Expect Christmas to be more like the return time on him. And he'll get some load management, particularly at the end of the year. The weight thing, I know that they're saying he's strong and he's just going to play big. He's never going to be Steph Curry size. But losing a few pounds and being leaner is going to happen. You think about this lateral meniscus tear. He had the surgery where they trim a piece off. Well, now there's just a little bit less. And at what you talked about it, the force he plays with, the torque and the energy we're talking about when he leaps and does stuff. That's a lot of strain on joints and ligaments and stuff. And so he's going to have to, that explosiveness you don't want to take away because it's a large part of what makes him special. But in a way, I'm trying to think of a comp, maybe Blake Griffin's the best one. You better diversify your game to go with it because you're not necessarily going to be able to keep up that kind of load and that kind of explosiveness forever. LeBron might be the only guy who's kind of done that, and he should not be your comp for anything in life. LeBron is just kind of a freak.
Yeah, no, he's a total freak. That's I'm with you there. That to me, I would be really, really concerned. Now, obviously down here, our football team is trying to set themselves up for a high pick. I'm now starting to worry about Tua, but for other reasons, for being injury prone. With this kid, I just worry about the pounding that he's putting on his body, and I just don't know how those joints are going to be able to, put up with it.
He had issues in high school. Like you said, the college thing was, the shoe blew up, and that's a little weird, but this is that same knee. It's just concerning. It starts to reach a point where it's a little bit concerning, and I would hate to see it. I hate to see players with that kind of potential not be able to, not physically not be able to live up to it for whatever reason.
Kurt, is this the biggest, outside of a playoff game, finals, whatever, in the regular season? Will this be the biggest game between the Clippers and the Lakers ever when it comes to media credentials? I would imagine this has to be a record for them, right?
That's funny. I was joking with my wife last night. We were out walking the dogs, in the evening, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm taking off early tomorrow."
Yes.
I'm out. I'm going again. I'm like, I have a normal leave time, and then I'm adding at least half an hour, 45 minutes, because it's just going to be crazy there tonight for media credentials. And just look, there's actually a rivalry here. There's actually some tension between these teams where it was definitely perceived in Los Angeles as big brother, little brother until this summer, and not anymore. Not anymore. And if it gets to be a playoffs here.
Good stuff as always. Follow him on Twitter at Basketball Talk and catch his exceptional work at Pro Basketball Talk. He is Kurt Helin. Kurt, you are the man. Appreciate it as always, baby.
Take care, Big O. I'll talk to you soon, buddy.
You got it, my man. There you go. Kurt Helin. Good stuff there as always. I would be worried about Zion in a big-time way.
He hasn't even started the regular season. He's already out for 6 to 8 weeks. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
And like you said, he did have some issues at North Carolina. bumps and bruises, this, that, but he did miss. At one stretch, he missed, about
Duke,
5 or 6?
yes.
I'm sorry, Duke. 5 or 6 games, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
And he got back in right before the ACC tournament. He probably missed the last 5 or 6 games of the regular season.
Yeah. No, it's I'm with you. It's I would be terrified of him. I'm also starting to be nervous about Tua. I'm not big on injury-prone players, man. I'm just not. I am not a fan of injury-prone players, and he's suffering too many of those ankle injuries. My buddy is sending me the 420 Festival. Where is the Sweetwater 420 Fest? Where is this? Oh, it's in Atlanta, Georgia, April 24th through the 26th. Oysterhead, Trey Anastasio Band, Gary Clark Jr., Joe Russo's Almost Dead, Lake Street Drive, The Floozies, Dr. Dog, the Marcus King Band, Larkin Poe, Delta Ray, Funk You. Not bad. I said funk. Okay, just in case. If you're worried. What did he say? What did he say? What'd you think of my Greta hat? I needed a Greta hat. I never had a Greta hat. Because the Greta hats that Greta sells are not good. They're not.
Let me ask you a question. Does it have anything on the back? No. So that hat is lacking, sir. Coming from a guy that always wears his hat backwards.
Yeah,
you gotta have something. You gotta. But look,
I don't wear my hats backwards.
It's still Greta. It looks good.
It does look good.
I like the black with the gold. It's
the Greta hats are terrible. Terrible. And Greta doesn't have any good hats. Like, they have the one with the flower power, but it's like, dude, I got the shirt. I don't need the hat. I need a cooler hat. They need cooler hats over there at Greta, and they don't. So somebody, whoever's running the Greta Van Fleet website, would you guys come up with, I have to buy, like, secondary market ones. That's what this is.
Act like you're putting forth some effort on the hat there?
Yeah, but this one's actually cool. I like how they spelled the name out. It looks good.
It works.
It looks good, man. Looks good. And it's comfortable, too. I needed a Greta hat. They didn't have one in my life.
The thing regarding Brady and that whatever nonsense stuff, do you want any part of that?
What are you talking about? I don't even know what you're talking about.
Adam Scheffler talking about Brady.
Oh, Schefter talking about Brady and the possible retirement.
Mayflower trucks are in his future.
Like maybe leaving the Patriots. Yeah, go ahead. Let's hear from Adam Schefter last night on the future of Tom Brady, how he speculates that Tom Brady could be leaving the Patriots.
Again, let's just boil this down to the basic facts. Once again, when we talk about Tom and his future, let's look at some simple things. Has he put his home for sale? Yeah, but hold on, Steve. Again, let's just boil this down to the basic facts. Once again, when we talk about Tom and his future, let's look at some simple things. Has he put his home for sale? Yeah, but hold on, Steve. Has he put his home for sale? Yes. Has his trainer put his home for sale? Yes. Has he set up his contract to void after the season to become a free agent? Yes. So if he's selling his home and his trainer's selling his home and he's voiding his contract, what does that tell you?
It tells you that he's now recognizes in the NFL that you can play much longer because the game is safer for quarterbacks. It is easier in many ways for quarterbacks. And because of that, you're going to get guys that play 23, 24 years. The odds of you playing on one team just go down more and more as you play longer and longer. So your point being that the odds of Tom Brady finishing in New England are getting lower as he plays longer, just because there's opportunity and option.
But it sounds like he's making these decisions on his own. That he's dictating.
He's setting it up. And we'll see to move on. Now listen, there are many times people set up things in their life to move on, and they walk to the abyss and they look down and they say, whoa, I'm not jumping now. So he could change his mind. But I'm just telling you, if you look at it in his mind, it has to be clear. He's thinking
in many
about
ways,
New England.
It comes down to how Jerry Rice and I thought about retiring. I felt it was super important to retire as a 49er. Like, I'm a 49er, I'm retire. And Jerry's like, I'm playing ball, bro. I'm out. And he went to Oakland, he went to Seattle. Does anyone care that he went to Oakland or Seattle or even Denver? No. So he proved to me that Tom should not, in the end, he will retire and go to the Hall of Fame as a New England Patriot quarterback, whether he finishes there or not.
You know, with what you're saying, Adam, that's very shocking. Where do you see him going?
Well, I'll say this. It's setting up. I don't know whether he's going to play, not play, move on.
But if he did decide to go, where would you see?
I'm sure there would be a half dozen franchises or a dozen franchises that would be interested in service.
I think.
And that's Schefter and a slew of other folks, Randy Moss and Steve Young and Susie Colbert and all that good
Monday
stuff.
night group.
Yeah, talking. And so they speculating on Tom Brady. I personally think the Bears would be the perfect spot. That's really
I love the way you sound right now, man.
That's really where he should go. That's the one spot that I would say that he can go from one place to another, not miss a beat, have a shot at a title for 2 straight years. If he can play for 2 more years. You know? That's what I would say would be his best option overall. That's what I would throw that one out there. By the way, if you did not catch our first hour of the program, the podcast is up. So is the segment with Manny Navarro. If you missed the Caneswear Miami Hurricanes report, Bill has posted both of those. So
and
you can,
the Monday Night Football discussion, Gase, blah, all that, the beginning, we're about to get that up. Give us like 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, okay. So we'll have all of that for you. If you want to get in on it there on our downloads, and we appreciate all of you for supporting us like you have.
Got to apologize for the Wi-Fi today. A little bit tough.
Yeah, a little bit slower today, but everything is eventually getting there as always. Maybe what you do is sign up on my on the hotspot on mine. That's what you should do on yours. Sign up on the hotspot here is what you should do. That might help you out when you're sending. When you're ready to send, then sign on the hotspot and then send it. After you've loaded it all. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway, that'll help you out. All right, this is what we've got to do. Now we've got to reset. We have got George Richards. He's going to join us now. We're going to take a very, very short break. Before we do, let me tell you about Choice Mortgage Bank. Michael Kotze and the great people at Choice Mortgage Bank. You got to go see Michael Kotze. I'm telling you, folks. Michael has been taking care of a lot of our listeners for like 9 years now. They do it all wholesale, conventional, residential loans, condo loans, reverse mortgages, jumbo loans, FHA, VA loans. We can get you into a fixed mortgage rate under 4%. So let's get you out of those bad deals. Let's consolidate your bills. If you've got equity in your home, let's pay off all those bills. Let's lower your monthly payment. That way you've got more money for your family to go on a vacation, to get a new car. Go to Toyota of Hollywood. Go to Craig's Inn Acura. Get a new car, man. So many options for you. Please call Michael Kotze, and I'm giving you the owner's personal cell number, 561-441-2730. That's 561-441-2730. Rates and terms subject to change. Daily without notice. Equal housing lender and MLS 166254. It's Choice Mortgage Bank.
Plus tax, tech title. It includes $8.99 dealer fee on approved credit offers and 11/10/19. Over 1,500 Toyotas are on the ground, and truckloads of new 2020 Toyotas just keep on coming. To eliminate all 2019 models, Toyota of Hollywood is holding the ultimate 2019 model year changeover event. Make us an offer, any offer, and you can buy a Toyota at up to 50% less than their original MSRP when new and used. 50% less. A pre-owned 2019 RAV4, not $30,000, $19,775. A pre-owned 2019 Camry LE, not $26,000, $17,775. A pre-owned 2019 Corolla LE, not $22,000, $12,775. Pay up to 50% less at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer, based on total retail sales of new Toyotas in the Southeast region for 2014 to 2018 per SET, on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All right, welcome aboard. It is hour number 3 of the program. And we told you we were going to talk a little Okie because the Panthers coming off a beautiful win on Saturday. A great score by Trocheck. Montalban was fantastic. The youngster was awesome. George Richards does a better job than the entire organization of covering the organization on a daily basis, which is a beautiful thing. For the Athletic MIA, he covers your Cats on a daily basis. And tonight, Sidney Crosby and the boys are in town, and they're going down. Right, George? They're going down.
Well, we'll have to see about that. But, yeah, no, nice matchup Tuesday night in Sunrise. You got the Penguins in town, and, you got a new player with the Panthers, and Barkov seems to be fine. So, good times in Sunrise.
There you go. Follow him on Twitter at George Richards. So, well, you just started with some good news. What's the Barkov news? Go ahead, give it to us.
Well, yeah, I mean, today at the morning skate, he didn't participate on the ice, but worked out off the ice, and Joel Quenneville said that Barkov was fine. I mean, he went through a full practice yesterday, was doing everything. So they said that, keeping him out of the Nashville game was more of a precaution. He tried to come back, according to Quenneville, but they kept him out, precautionary, and kept him off the ice today. Listen, I was told last week that they were going to try and keep Barkov off the ice. They think that he's just been working way too hard, and if there a lingering injury, he says no, the team says no, but I'm not sure. So anytime that a guy like Barkov that logs that many minutes, that has that many responsibilities, can take a little bit of time off, I think it's a good thing. So, especially if he is healthy. So, he should be back in tonight.
What was the injury? What was the injury?
They're saying upper body. I don't know. In watching the game Saturday night in Nashville, it looked like maybe he hurt, maybe his hand or something, or his ribs or his back. I don't know. It looked like, he was clutching his side and he was barely holding the stick. So I really couldn't tell what happened, and they haven't said anything. So they're not letting us know what's going on with it. But, if he's okay, then that's the good news.
Yeah, no, that's definitely the good news. I mean, it was impressive that he went out and they were able to overcome, because they lost the lead. They were up 2-0, and then they lose the lead, and then they go into the shootout and still win it. I thought there was a lot of character in that win on Saturday night.
Oh, absolutely, Big O. I mean, we talked last week, and I said they would be very happy with 2 out of the 4 points. You're playing Colorado and at Nashville on back-to-back nights. I mean, that is a tall order. And then you lose Barkov, and then it looks like, Trocheck is a little banged up, and at 2-2, when Nashville scores 10 minutes left in the game, you're thinking to yourself, man, they're going to blow this game, and what a disappointment, because they've been playing so great, and they played such a great road game. They shut it down defensively. When they had the opportunity to go on the attack, they did, and they played an excellent game despite being short-handed. It was just a huge lift for them to not only, come out of there with a point, but to get 2 and win in a shootout finally, I thought was a big lift to the team.
Yeah, how about patience? The word patience. And on Sunday, I saw the patience from Mark Walton before he would hit the hole with the Miami Dolphins, and I was impressed. I was impressed with Monty's patience between the pipes in that shootout. That kid was a cool customer. He waited every single time for the skater to make the commitment so he could take control of the situation and take the angles out. I thought Monty was fantastic on Saturday night. He looked like a 10-year veteran the way he handled the shootout.
He really did. I mean, he was excellent. You could tell that he's been doing his video work. He really scouted those guys out, kind of knew what was coming, and had the wherewithal, like you said, to be patient enough not to jump earlier to do anything before he should have. And that's kind of tough in the heat of the moment. Maybe you know what's coming, and you still kind of jump the gun a little bit, and he did not do that. He's a young goalie. He's still considered a rookie, even though he was here for a few games last year. That experience he got last year is unbelievable, and it's really affected him this year in a positive way because he's been terrific. Every time he's come in, he gave up, when he replaced Bob in that Carolina game, he made 19 saves, gave up 1 goal, and then he's given up 2 goals in his first 2 starts of the season. So he's been terrific. And the situation he's in as the backup goalie, only coming in once a week, once every 10 days when they have one of these back-to-backs, for him to be able to get you wins, get you points, he got you a point on Long Island against the Islanders. He got you 2 in Nashville. That's spectacular because you need that backup goalie to be able to come in and get you some points, and he's been doing that so far. 3 out of 4, they'll take that all year long.
No, not only that, remember Ferris is the guy, or Turris, I'm sorry, is the guy that scored on him.
Say Ferris.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And remember, Turris is the guy that scored on him to tie the game. So mentally, it's in his head, and he's the guy trying to close out there in the shootout, and he has to kind of finish him off. So a lot of maturity there handling that moment. I thought that was really cool by Monty. And again, maybe, I mean, here's the twisted part, dude. The youngster's out playing the old man right now, okay? I mean, let's just call it like we see it. It just is what it is. It just,
okay.
Bob is playing really, really well. Monty's playing slightly better right now, which is actually pretty cool.
Yeah, and listen, when you talk about maturity, how about learning from your mistakes, right? I mean, Turris came in and beat him on that power play goal with 10 minutes left when he cheated a little bit, right? I mean, he made the mistake, and Turris made him pay for it.
That's right.
He got him back. He got him back in round 3 of that shootout. And, hey, listen, you learn from your mistakes. That's a sign of maturity as well. So good on Monty. The Panthers are extremely pleased with the way he's played right now.
All right, Bob's played well. Bob's not playing elite every night. I know that the articles have been written. You guys have talked about how he's a slow starter in the first month and all that good stuff. But, the other night when he's going up against Brubeck's making those – is it Brubeck or Brubauer? Was it Brubauer?
Grubauer.
Yeah, he was making those incredible saves down the stretch and kind of sealed it for his team. Bob wasn't doing that. And Bob's been terrific, but he needs to be great because that's what they're paying him to do. Does he notice that himself, too, when you guys talk to him? How has he been about that? Is he expecting more from himself?
Yeah, he expects more from himself every time. I mean, there's no more of a perfectionist in this game than Sergei Bobrovsky. I mean, the guy, everything he does is scripted, and the way he works. Just trust me on this. He is an elite goaltender who, when it's going to come down to it in February, March, April, is going to be an elite goaltender. He's going to be the best goaltender you guys have seen down here in a long time, and that taking nothing away from some of the guys that have been here, because one of the hallmarks of the Panthers in their 26 years has been good goaltending. They've always seemed to find goaltending. For whatever other shortcomings the Panthers have had, goaltending has never been a problem. Sergei Bobrovsky is the best goaltender they've had. This guy is a Hall of Famer in his prime. He's going to be the guy that carries this team when it matters. Right now, the team is still going through some growing pains. If you watch that game, and I know you did, Saturday night, they played a completely different game than we've seen all year against Nashville, and they did it with the backup goalie in net. They haven't played that way in front of Bobrovsky yet. They will. They're growing into that. It's coming. And I think it's just going to be unbelievable. When you see Bob in March, and he is just the workhorse that he is, We've seen it in Columbus. They rode him into the playoffs the last 2 years. He started every single day, started both back-to-backs, and was making 40 saves a night. He's going to be great. It's coming. I don't think he's been bad by any means, but I think once his team kind of gels in front of him, and maybe they gelled Saturday night. Maybe that was the kickoff point for this team, and we're going to see something different moving forward. We'll have to see, but it's coming.
Hayes, let's see, Riley. I don't know. I'm trying to remember some of the different names because every year this dude seems to find a guy. Connolly is now this guy this year. What the hell is? I mean, up above, he just does it every year. He's got an eye for talent. He'll find guys. He'll add guys. What's it called? Dadanov a couple years ago. I mean, he just keeps doing it, brother. And once again, this Connolly kid.
How about Mike Hoffman? Mike Hoffman for 2 draft picks.
Yes, Hoffman. I mean, really, we can't say enough.
That was grand larceny.
Yes, can't say enough about the man making the decisions in personnel for this team. It's just amazing.
Yeah, Dale's done a nice job building this team. I think, this team has been built through the draft with a lot of added pieces. If you look around the lineup, a lot of guys have been added. Frank Petrano, they traded for. You got Frank Petrano. He gives you 25 goals last year. Now he's got a new contract, so he's here for a while. Brett Connolly, like you said. And, how about Noel Achari, the fourth line guy?
Yeah, Achari.
That was centering the first line. He goes from fourth line to first line.
Yeah, after the Barkov injury. Out. Yeah.
Yeah, and nobody talked about Noel Achari except for everybody in Boston who couldn't believe that they let him go, that they didn't pay him, and Florida did. And we weren't even talking about big money. We're talking like $1.5 million a season. So the Panthers are getting great value out of Noel Achari. But yeah, I mean, they're obviously you don't hit home runs every single time, but I think the Panthers have been able to bring in some guys over the years. There have been some strikeouts. I mean, Dave Bolin for one, but I think the positives have outweighed the negatives for sure.
No doubt, and every time we see it, it's just the guys contributing. Connolly has been one hell of an addition, and I need a campaign to change the name because the kid has come into his own now. Dennis Mulgan. We cannot call him Dennis the Menace. I've got a better name. Let's call him the Mulganator. I mean, if we're going to copy something, let's give him an intimidating name at least. It's just Dennis the Menace stuff. The Mulganator, baby. Dennis Mulgan
is biggest guy. He's not the biggest guy in the world. That's the thing. He is kind of a menace. He's quick. He's fast. He's skilled.
But it's like the 6'5" guy that weighs 370, and they call him tiny. That's what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to have a little fun with the name. So I gotta but seriously, Dennis Mulgan.
I mean, everybody calls me Slim, man. I get it.
There you go. No, but Dennis. But seriously, Dennis Mulgan. Coming into his own, man. He really is. I really like what I'm seeing from the kid.
Yeah, I think last year was tough on him, and I talked to him a lot. I really like Dennis Mulgan. I think he's got a good skill set. He can score. He's got a great shot. He's got terrific speed. And he didn't, he felt like last year that the coaching staff here didn't have a whole lot of faith in him. And maybe it was warranted because when he went in there, he didn't really stand out. I mean, there were games where Dennis Mulgan, no offense to him, you didn't notice him at all, and then he would be a healthy scratch. And he had some injuries. I think he had a concussion. He might have had a shoulder. He had some injuries last year and never really got going. And then when he did play, he got into a rhythm. He said this year was going to be different with a new coach and all kinds of stuff. He was going to come in fresh. And, man, I'll tell you what, the first couple games, you didn't notice him a whole lot, but then you did. And Q loves him. I mean, because Q loves speed. He loves puck possession. He loves a guy that can control the flow of play. I think that's one thing that Henrik Borgstrom is learning right now, that he needed to kind of drive some play, and Dennis Mulgan has done that. And I think he's been, one of the nicer stories of this early season. Because he's living up to exactly what he talked about at the end of last season. He said, just wait till next year. I'm going to get a fresh start. I'm going to take advantage of it. And he definitely has done that.
Love what I'm seeing from him. All right, we'll wrap it up with this. George Richards, of course, from The Athletic, MIA, covering your Panthers on a daily basis. Do they win tonight? What's the prediction?
Yeah, I mean, it's hockey, so you never know. And I know you hate when I do this, but I think they can. You got Bob in there. You've got some new players. Trocheck's probably not going to play, but you got Brian Boyle going in there for his first game. Let's see what he can do. Yeah, I mean, it's they're going on a tough road trip, kicking off on Thursday night in Calgary, so you need these points here at home. I'll give you a 4-3 Panther win. How about that?
I love it. That's what I want. I want a Panther win tonight, dude. It's a good night tonight. NBA starts, World Series, and we got the Panthers and the Penguins. 7 o'clock face-off at the BB&T Center. My man George Richards will be there. George, as always, thank you for joining us, man. Love talking a little Panthers with you. Appreciate it.
All right, Big O. Love you, brother. Be good.
You got it, my man. Mucho amor for my man George Richards. All right, Panthers. I love it. All right, quick break. Couple seconds here. We will get Craig Mish on. We're going to switch gears now. We got the World Series tonight. So let's get into a little baseball. Baseball has been very, very good to me. Craig Mish from Fantasy Radio, Swings and Mishes. Next.
Plus tax tag title. It includes $8.99 dealer fee on approved credit offers and 11/10/19. Over 1,500 Toyotas are on the ground, and truckloads of new 2020 Toyotas just keep on coming. To eliminate all 2019 models, Toyota of Hollywood is holding the ultimate 2019 model year changeover event. Make us an offer, any offer, and you can buy a Toyota at up to 50% less than their original MSRP when new and used. 50% less. A pre-owned 2019 RAV4, not $30,000, $19,775. A pre-owned 2019 Camry LE, not $26,000, $17,775. A pre-owned 2019 Corolla LE, not $22,000, $12,775. Pay up to 50% less at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer, based on total retail sales of new Toyotas in the Southeast region for 2014 to 2018 per SCT, on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All right, we promised you we're going to talk a little World Series, baby, with Craig Mish. Love talking baseball with Craig. And, of course, what you should do is follow him on Twitter at Craig Mish. You should also catch him at Fantasy Radio, too. Always getting it done there at Fantasy Radio. And, of course, Swings and Misses, and Mishes, that is. Swings and Mishes, which is the podcast. You can also catch him there at swingsandmishes.com and at Swings and Mishes on Twitter. Craig, how you doing, my brother?
Swings and Misses is for all the predictions that I make that are wrong. Swings and Mishes is for the podcast. So close enough, though.
There you go. I love it. All right, good stuff as always, my brother. How is Bryce Harper feeling at this point when he's watching his former team in the World Series?
Well, he's saying all the right things about it and seems to be in good spirits and has congratulated a lot of his former teammates. One that I've spoken to seems to be corroborating that. So, look, I mean, in the end, I'm sure there's got to be a piece of him, Orlando, that feels like there was a missed opportunity there for sure. I think that's only natural, though. Who wouldn't feel that way? I mean, you would, I would, we'd all feel that way. But at least from what he's conveyed to the former teammates that he's played with and people that I've spoken to, he seems to be in really good spirits and is obviously pulling for his old teammates. So, look, Harper in the end, Orlando, made a decision on his life, seems to be very happy with it, got married, has a baby. He's in a great situation in Philadelphia. I would expect next year the Phillies to be among those teams that are competing for a World Series. So good job by the Nationals to win it without him, but Harper will be fine.
Yeah, well, obviously, would he make $300 million or whatever the hell it is, his contract? So yeah, he's good. But it kind of reminds you of Edgerrin James, right? Edgerrin wanted the money, so he went to Arizona for the money, and then the Colts won the title that year that he left. And that, you almost get the feeling here that could happen for the Nationals. I'm kind of pulling for the Nationals because they've been through all this and the straw back when they had that opportunity, and they left, and they that and obviously they're
and then the team goes on to win, or they get traded, and that happens also. If you remember, I mean, you followed the Yankees forever, Orlando. I mean, Don Mattingly was arguably one of the greatest players in Yankee history. The day he retired, the Yankees signed Tino Martinez. They won the World Series the next year. So, I mean, things just happen like that in sports. And look, there's got to be a piece as a human being to wish that you were in that spot, and no one's ever going to convince me otherwise of that. But the Nationals, simply put, led by that pitching, and then, of course, Anthony Rendon and some magical little things along the way with some bit fleet pieces like Gerardo Parra and the Baby Shark thing. That's what happens in sports. Guys come together. We're seeing it now with Washington. They were the hottest team in baseball since May, and now we're going to see if that continues because they basically had another all-star break, Orlando, in between winning this and the World Series tonight.
Yeah, about a month ago on Sirius, I was having some fun with the Yankee fans. I do it also with my boy Bill at his expense.
Thanks a lot.
That the Astros have become the Yankees, and that they're willing to do the things the Yankees and old man Steinbrenner, rest in peace, was willing to do. He would spend the money. He would go over the tax. He didn't care. He wanted to win. When it comes to Yankee fans right now, they've got to be a little confused now because they no longer have the kind of ownership group that is willing to do what it takes to win. Whereas we're watching the Astros, hey, we need to get Verlander, we're going to do it. We need to get Greinke, we're going to do it. And it's put them over the top. So how should the Yankee fan feel now that they have all the resources, but they don't maximize them?
Well, they should feel bad. But at the same time, I think that, respectfully, I have to disagree. Because when you look at it, the Yankees, and look, we live here in South Florida, and when I was much younger, I grew up as a Yankees fan, and now I'm like everybody else. When the Yankees don't succeed, I kind of laugh and look at it the way that you do. But Orlando, let's be honest, man. I mean, they had more injuries this year than anybody could have imagined in Major League Baseball, losing Judge and losing Stanton yet again, and losing Severino, and losing Andujar, and everybody that was on that team basically spent time on the injured list at one point or another. So, for me, I mean, 2 off seasons ago, Big O, they traded for Stanton and took on $300 million. Like, I don't know what they were expected to do. The problem is that with all of these players, like Ronald Acuna and Ozzy Albies and so many of these young kids before they're hitting free agency, signing these long-term extensions, the Yankees are in a very precarious position, which is there's no one available for them to sign that's worth that kind of money. It's just true. There aren't a lot of players out there that fit what they need. Now, the guy that they faced off in the ALCS and the guy that we're going to see in the World Series tonight, without a doubt, is definitely one of them in Garrett Cole. But is Garrett Cole just going to take the Brinks truck of money from the Yankees, or is he the kind of guy that wants to stay in Houston or play for the Angels or play on the West Coast? We don't know the answer to that. So while the Yankees may not have gone all in, as you're describing, like Houston has gone all in, they have really spent the kind of money that you can expect. And look, they're now stuck with Stanton for a long time with that contract, and if you don't think that's not going to hinder them in what they're trying to do, you'd be sadly mistaken.
Yeah, I know, but they go up to the salary threshold. They don't go over. They're not willing to pay a tax. Whereas
Nobody is. Boston didn't do it either. Orlando, same situation.
Dodgers are paying a tax, aren't they?
No, Dodgers
Really?
are under the tax. Dodgers moved out Puig. the Dodgers moved out Puig and they moved out some contracts to get under the tax before the year started.
I thought they were over the tax still because they have spent so much. It seemed to me like they were still over the tax because they are crazy ass spenders. All right, good stuff there. Tonight, tell me about this matchup, Scherzer and Garrett Cole. When we look at this pitching matchup for the next couple of games here, where would you go back? How many World Series do you go back to have this kind of pitching on both sides?
Boy, that's a great question. It's been a really long time. Maybe Kansas City when they faced off with San Francisco a few years back with Matt Cain and Lincecum and Madison Bumgarner and KC had Volquez at the top, and they had a player who passed away. It's escaping my mind right now. They also had James Shields at that time. So it's been a while, and you're looking at bona fide six aces going at it in this series. So it feels like it's been a long time, but this is also the longest time it's been when a team has been this big of a favorite over any other team in the World Series too. I mean, Houston is just a monster favorite to win the series. So I think that at least odds makers' expectation is that no one is beating Garrett Cole, and they got Garrett Cole in 3 games in the series, and that's a wrap. I guess that's the way they view it.
Yeah, and I thought they made the right decision on the other side going with Scherzer because he's more of a horse and a guy that you can actually count on 3 times to make an outing, whereas you cannot put Strasburg in that position. That was the right move, correct?
Yeah, and look, Scherzer has been their ace since the beginning of the season, and I could easily see this series going 7 games, and that's the guy for sure that you would want in 7 games. But look, the Houston bullpen is also probably better than Washington's bullpen, or at least it has been. So I think we'll get a low-scoring competitive series throughout this thing. I'm looking forward to it.
Damn, you got me right. That's what I was going to ask you. That's the edge, right? Because we look at the hitting, we look at the starting pitching, and I start to give the edge is where I go in the bullpen for the Astros over the Nationals. That's really where it's at? Is that the way you see it also?
Well, I mean, look, the one wrinkle that's changed a little bit in the last 24, 48 hours is this story from Sports Illustrated. Obviously, this is a monster distraction for the team, having the incident that happened in their clubhouse where, one of the reporters was saying that one of the executives of the Astros was, essentially yelling at them or, saying that they were happy to have this pitcher, their 9th inning pitcher, Roberto Osuna, who, of course, was, had the issue with domestic violence and was suspended for that last year. So that's a pretty significant distraction to go into the World Series, and I'm very curious how that will play out as this thing goes on. But in terms of talent, you can't make any argument that the Nationals bullpen is better than Houston's, because Houston has Ryan Presley, who now looks 100% healthy, who didn't give up a run in the first 2 months of the season at all. They converted him into another one of these type of stoppers when they got him from the Twins. And then they have Josh James, who went to South Broward High School, who's throwing 100 miles an hour. And they of course have Ozuna in the 9th, and Washington's all their guys. Now they've had some rest, so that's a good sign for sure. But man, the Nationals have had to use that bullpen over and over and over. So it would appear to be an advantage there, but really the big advantage to me is just having Garrett Cole, Orlando. I mean, that to me is just very significant.
Yeah, Garrett Cole's a stud. And like you said, there's 6 aces pretty much going at each other. All right, so then if we know the pitching's great, we probably are expecting low scoring games here. Which is the lineup you like the most to break through?
Well, I think Houston's probably, but I do think that there will be
experience also. Are you throwing experience in there since the Nationals don't have it, and the Nationals have that history of falling short? I wonder if that also affects the way people look at this.
Well, I mean, again, you have 2 pitchers, one pitcher in Verlander, who's been through this, so there's no question that that's a factor. Although Scherzer I would put up against anybody in all of baseball. I don't think that anything ever matters to him. But I keep going back. Look, the Astros lineup is formidable. Washington's lineup is excellent as well, and they've been very opportunistic. And Rendon is as dangerous as any hitter in the big leagues for sure. Turner can run. Robles can run. You get to a close game, they're down a run. These guys can take second. Houston doesn't have those guys. Altuve is not the same runner that he was previously. Springer doesn't run that much. Bregman runs a little bit. I mean, Washington does have that speed advantage, but in the history of baseball, and at least in my history of baseball, the only pitcher that has ever put on a performance like Garrett Cole in a regular season and postseason is Oral Hershiser. That's it. There is no one that has come close. This guy has not lost a game since May. Wow. I mean, if he is going to throw 7 shutout innings in 3 games in this series, it is over. Or Houston will win another game at some point. Washington's going to have to beat Cole. I mean, they're not winning the World Series going 0-3 versus Garrett Cole because they're going to lose another game. It's going to happen. And that's what kind of makes game 1 more interesting than the rest. If Washington can steal this game, it would change the entire complex of the series. It's just until somebody beats them, I can't go against them.
When's the next time we see the Marlins in the World Series? I bet you can't answer that one. Huh?
Yeah, I don't know. World Series? Jeez.
What's next on Swings and Mishes for our Marlins fans so they can look forward to the next podcast?
I have a better answer on the World Series, honestly. No, we do the podcast now every other week. It's been kind of slow. I reported last week that the Marlins coaching staff, some of the guys who they're bringing back, Mel Stottlemyre Jr., their pitching coach, Trey Hillman, who looks like could be their bench coach or their first base coach. But as soon as they have a day off here, I think the Marlins are about to finalize the rest of their coaching staff for 2020. And really baseball's unwritten rules state that they would prefer you not to make any coaching decisions and announcements on days that there are the World Series. So I would expect before the weekend, maybe today is Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe Thursday, we'll get some updated news. And then if we do, then I'll do a podcast on that next week. If they wait till the end of the World Series, then I'll do it the following week. But that's why, Orlando, you really haven't heard of any coaching hires and any managing hires with the Mets and the Phillies and the Padres and the Pirates and the Giants and the Cubs. They're just waiting for this to be over, and then they'll make their announcement.
Follow him on Twitter at Craig Mish, and of course, catch the podcast Swings and Mishes, and if you can go to swingsandmishes.com and on Twitter at Swings and Mishes, and of course, Fantasy Radio, FNTSY Radio. Tell them about Fantasy Radio and where they can find you every day, my man.
Yeah, on Twitter, I have all the links there at Craig Mish. You could just click on any of those at FNTSY Radio, FNTSY Radio. We also can listen on iHeartRadio, but just like you're doing, Orlando, a lot of this stuff is available on demand in podcast format, which is obviously the way to go right now, both now and in the future. It's so easy to access by downloading the FNTSY app or just by downloading Stitcher, which you can hear my podcast on, or iTunes or Android. Anywhere you listen to a podcast, you can hear my show, just like yours.
There you go. And follow him on Twitter at Craig Mish. I just got a chicken parm now, which is so good. Craig, as always, my brother, thank you for taking some time and joining us on the show and talking a little World Series. We look forward to bothering you again throughout the offseason, my friend.
Anytime, but don't throw stuff like chicken parm at me right before hanging up. I don't like to hear that. That's not nice. Well, don't do delicious food right before that.
You're welcome next month to come on down and do your segment with me here, and I'll treat you to lunch here at the
you know what? That sounds like a great plan. I'll do anything you want. You know that.
All right, I'm going to send you the date. I'm going to call next month. You're going to be in here for it, all right?
Let's send me down. Let's do it.
You got it. All right, baby. You be good.
Have a great one. Bye, Bill. See ya.
You got it. There you go.
Thank you, Craig.
Good stuff as always. Craig Mish, man. He is just pure class. Pure class. Just a great dude.
Love the insight on the
look at that.
Let's not upstage the World Series. You all shut up about your new hires.
Yeah. Although
it makes sense. It makes because that's supposed to be your.
What are you offering me?
Well, I ain't offering
you want
you
me to show? Oh.
I'm offering you to show. You ain't
show.
You can't have my chicken parm, bro.
See, because we're wrapping up the show now. So we ordered our food so we can eat, as we tear down and hang out. It's traffic time, so it's not like we're rushing to get into traffic.
And finish loading up the stuff for the guys.
Yeah, and we're going to load up the rest of the podcast so you guys can have for drive time all the other stuff there. Let me see what we got.
Speaking of which, we got the second hour and the third segment regarding Kurt.
Okay.
Helin, okay.
Oh, Kurt Helin, yes.
Yeah,
okay.
So that's 3 segments in the first 2 hours.
Talking a little basketball for you with Kurt Helin. We had a full show. Well, we gave you multiple shows today because we just went over 3 hours here. We gave you another hour before that. So it's, 4 hours of programming today. So plenty of talk for you. Here's a hypothetical question for you, Big O. If the Buffalo Bills weren't so good in the late 80s and early 90s, would Marino had gone to back-to-back Super Bowls, Mal in Virginia? Yeah, that's an interesting question. The problem is maybe they go once. I don't know about back-to-back.
The 1 year we hosted the AFC Championship game. Okay.
Yeah. And they ran on him 300 yards. I still haven't recovered from the screen pass from Thurman Thomas, 299 yards or whatever it was. I would tell you this, maybe one of them, but not two, because Miami didn't have a defense and a running game. And so it was all on Marino every single week pretty much in the offense to get it done. And so I would say at least one out of the two I would go with. Okay? Let's see. Big O was talking about Lincoln Riley. He was asked if he thought he would be interested. Okay. All right. Urban Meyer. Boy, I tell you, I don't even know why anybody would bring that guy in. Amazing insight by Manny. Thank you, Big O, and the staff for making him a regular. Eugene and Homestead. Yes. You can catch Manny every week. And, yes, great insight. And it was a great point on his part about the experienced coach really needs to take this kind of a job. You know what I mean? And that's a really strong point because we've been so comfortable with going with the inexperienced coach and that he could learn on the job. And it's so much more difficult to learn on the job.
A lot of that had to do with us being cheap.
Yeah.
Golden was, the 7th or 8th highest paid ACC coach, and we got what we paid for.
Yeah, but we don't do that anymore.
No. We've opened up the money.
They spend on their coaches now. Yep. Now we cannot complain about it anymore. They spend on their coaches.
And thanks, Canesware. Canesware, the one that puts together the Manny.
Yes.
Manny segment for us every week on Tuesday.
Canesware, Brett, and all the great people over there at Canesware, just phenomenal. Just like all of our sponsors, whether it's Craig's Inn Acura, whether it's Toyota of Hollywood, whether it's Dandy Donuts, Choice Mortgage Bank. I could just go on. And so we thank all of our phenomenal sponsors here. And we thank everybody that called in, everybody that sent in a text, everybody that sent in a tweet, an Instagram post. Thank you for downloading the show and supporting our program every single day. It means the world to Bill and I. We are busting our asses every single day to try to make it happen for you. And we'll be back tomorrow rocking and rolling again.
Zeppelin 2 is 50 years old, bro.
Yeah, 50 years. That means I'm really old, too. We thank Manny Navarro. We thank Kurt Heelan. We thank George Richards. We thank Craig Mish. Loaded show for you, of course. We thank Billy, Gary, everybody out here, all the phenomenal people out here.
Tim, thank you, Tim.
Everybody out here at the Big Cheese. Go to the website, bigcheesemiami.com. And come on down so you can enjoy some delicious chicken parm like this right here. I'm about to enjoy myself. You be good. And by the way, it's the first time I ate, so I have been fasting all the way to this moment. So I deserve it.
The Big O continues to shrink.
Yes. Be good out there. We'll see you tomorrow.